Everything stated in this video is my opinion and my opinion only. And just like everything else in these cases we discuss here on this channel, everything is alleged. Hey, you guys. How is everyone doing? I didn't want to put anything up on the screen as I was playing because I wanted to go through and grab what you guys wanted to talk about and say hi for a few minutes, because this was originally going to be only a case discussion where we literally just talk about whatever in this case you guys want to talk about, because there's been so much and I'm still wading through Pullman documents. I'm still going and indexing the Moscow documents. We should be having some unredacted files come out really soon. And then there's going to be more being unredacted and unredacted and unredacted. So there's a lot. There's a lot going on. But again, that's what we were going to do. We're still going to do that. But probably 45 minutes to an hour in, we're going to switch over and go over this Idaho Statesman article. Now, they are claiming that they have some sort of timeline that they deem specific and detailed and whatever. And instantly the first paragraph is wrong. So we're going to go over that together and see exactly what else is in there that's absolutely incorrect. Because as soon as I realized how ridiculous it was, I was like, oh, nay. We're going to do this together because this is insane. Okay, let me write this real quick. Well, type this real quick. And then we'll start going through and telling people hi. We're going to do article review. Okay. It has been a lot going on. There has been a lot going on. Thank you. Well, I miss doing my lives. It's just been so freaking busy. I've said this 1,000 times. I want to start doing them at least twice a week on a schedule, but it's just kind of difficult because I always have 1,000 million things going on, but I'm trying. Welcome, Diamond Faces. Welcome. I hope that you were still in here. Actually, I know you're still in here. I saw your comments earlier whenever I sat down. So hello, Michelle. My brain is swimming at this point. I can't make heads or tails of all the videos and documents that have dropped. Nothing matches anything. I still can't believe this mess. New member here. Yeah, that's been one of the craziest things. And I guess like the most recent one over here on this channel is like Ethan and his direction on the bed and the way that they're describing him and the position where his head is and the wall where his head is versus the wall where all this stuff is. Like, there's a lot of just backwards things happening here. Yeah, a lot of things don't match, but honestly, the reports in themselves don't match up either, if that makes sense. Like earlier today, I was going back in and putting some like summarization paragraphs over the first like couple of the documents that I was like putting in the index, so that they have like a title, who wrote them, who reviewed them, the time that it was about, and then like a summary underneath it. The first four have at least two of the reports where they mention the footsteps in the backyard, but they both end up with like different directions. Like one of the reports says that the footsteps go off to the front of the house, but then the other one says that the footsteps go off between 1126 and 1118 King Road and disappear into like the landscape rocking. And I'm like, well, that's two different directions. What are you talking about? So I don't know exactly. And then I don't know. There's just a lot of discrepancies everywhere. The Nunez doesn't mention anything about blankets. He doesn't mention anything about blankets when it comes to Kaylee and Maddie or Ethan. It's not till after. And then one of the reports mentions how Warner and Nunez both go to take Hunter Johnson outside. See, this part right here is going to be a video in itself, and I'm just going to like bring this up because I realized like how ridiculous this was today, and it's just been like on my mind. Okay. So when it comes to Hunter Johnson being in the house with a knife in his hand, we have Nunez showing up first. And he's talking to Hunter. Hunter goes with him basically to Xana's room, and he just explains to him why he has the knife, and he advises him to like put it on the table. Well, then Warner shows up, and Warner is talking to Hunter Johnson, sees the knife on the table, asks about it. So then Nunez has to like explain it. They both end up walking Hunter outside. And then it says that they asked the girls if there was anyone else in the home, and they were told that they didn't know. To me, and I'd love some clarification, but this is just where I'm going to assume this, the girls would mean the other two girls that lived in the freaking house, right? So what do you mean you're going to say that you don't know if Kaylee and Maddie are in the house? Because at this point, like, haven't we heard Dylan say something about poor Kaylee on the 911 call? Like they're like going up to the third floor and seeing stuff. Like that narrative in itself doesn't make any sense. That doesn't add up, because then it makes it sound, actually it doesn't make it sound, it is like a fact. Nunez and Warner did not even know that Kaylee and Maddie were upstairs because of the way that the question was answered. And they went and saw Kaylee's room first and noticed the dog. And then they both ended up encountering Maddie and Kaylee in Maddie's room at the same time. So nothing was mentioned to them about Kaylee and Maddie at all, even though, again, we hear Kaylee's name being mentioned on the 911 call. Yeah. It's just wild to me. It's wild to me. This is going to be great. It looks more and more like Kaylee was the target. Wounds don't match. LinkedIn deleted. Phone missing from the chain of custody. Reddit warrant. Postal warrant upstairs first. Yeah, the LinkedIn account being deleted is wild to me. That's been like one of the big things, plus her like massive amount of hesitation. And then to come and find out that now we're finding out that the frat party or the sorority party that Dylan needed Kaylee for didn't happen. They didn't go. They ended up having a party at King Road instead on Friday night. So all the hesitation, not wanting to go back, and then claiming that, oh, you only want to go back to show off your car to Maddie, but then you apparently did go to the party because Dylan came to your face basically and asked, and that was said by Christy at some point. And obviously if Dylan went to go see Kaylee and saw the Range Rover, it had to have been like within 24 hours of her even getting it. And then for all of it to have just been like for nothing, because now, according to the people that were there, they didn't go because Dylan and Bethany wouldn't have been warmly welcomed. So they didn't go. They had a party instead. There's been like 1,000 million lies about so many things. It's absolutely wild. Now, I don't know about her phone missing from the chain of custody. I know that I questioned going through them, and I did not see Kaylee's phone going to a certain place, but I think that they dropped it off somewhere else. That's why I'm going back in and indexing all of the documents. But I do find the postal warrant interesting, the comment about how they didn't have to go upstairs. There's just a lot. There's been so much. Hey there, Cammie. Hey, Melinda. Hey, Lady Di, got something to say? I keep seeing thumbnails from other creators that I absolutely will not watch that say there is irrefutable proof of the Mad Greek connection. Okay, I know why they're saying that. There's an article, I believe it's in the Independent. I've skimmed through some of it, but I'm going to end up doing like a full-on video, like reading the entire thing, and then doing another, like at the end of it, there's going to be another video, because this is the Barnharts, I believe, that married couple. I had told you guys a while back, it's been some months now, that I had found like a podcast interview thing that they had done. Like it was pretty recent, but it only had like 300 something views. Like it wasn't like on their channel. It was where they were interviewing with somebody. And the focus of the conversation, besides like their Cellbrite affiliation, is the fact that they did a lot of focus on like Snapchat AI, like AI stuff being sent through Snapchat for like scam purposes was a lot of the stuff that they were talking about. Not so much like all this other stuff. That being said, in the article, they try to claim that there's like proof of some sort of, I don't know exactly how they worded it, so I'm not going to try to quote it, but some sort of connection in his phone to the Mad Greek. That's bullshit, because the state cannot stand up in court and say that there was no connections between Bryan Kohberger and the victims whenever there's proof that he had some sort of Wi-Fi connection on his phone to a place where both of the victims freaking worked. I'm sorry. No, you can't say that. That would be a false statement. That's like completely illegal. And no, like you're lying. So for the state who wanted to put this man away to say there was no connection, that means that too. On top of that, the Mad Greek owners already come out like several times a long time ago and said, we don't have anything about this guy here. And people only thought that because they had vegan pizza. Like, I don't even think they're open anymore. I think they actually like shut down for good. Like, I think they're gonzo in Moscow. But they were not a vegan restaurant. They cooked lamb. They cooked Greek food, you know, mad Greek. They had like a vegan option, maybe two, but pretty sure it was just like a vegan pizza. That's the only reason why people really went that far. But no connection is no connection. Like, they looked at surveillance footage. They didn't find anything. Don't y'all think that if there was financial records proving anything about Mad Greek, a transaction, a receipt, anything that they could put together with anything, that they would have said something? No connection is no connection. So I don't understand. I don't understand that. They're getting this from this article from these people that they didn't testify. I don't even know exactly what their position was. I'm going to have to go back in through the documents and see what kind of like witness they were supposed to be, if they were like a main one or if they were just someone that was going to be brought up on like rebuttal or something, because it matters. So I need to go back into the documents that have everything to do with them and relook at that. But that article, the article doesn't give dates for information. It also doesn't make sense how they keep trying to say that like all these things happened, but then like all these other things were found on his phone. So how are you going to try to make me believe that he like did all these things to clean up everything, but then you apparently like have all these things that you keep talking about that you found? And again, no connection is no connection. And just like everybody else and their mama, everybody was looking at this case. And honestly, I feel like maybe he was trying to, if anything, solve it, you know, maybe get some clues, maybe, you know, prove something by looking into things. I mean, everybody was looking at everything when it came to that case. So again, timestamps, dates, times and dates that things actually happened. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff we need. I mean, we know that Dateline, and then again, even though Dateline was already proven to be a true leak because of what's happening right now with the special investigation, we don't know exactly what was real information and what wasn't. So some of the stuff that Dateline said, that's another piece of the Idaho Statesman's articles that we're going to end up like going back in. They said something, I don't want to like say it incorrectly, so I guess I probably shouldn't even mention it, because then somebody will be like, oh my God, you got 2 words wrong in that sentence. And then I'll have to like throw another fit. So maybe I'll just do a video about that later whenever I like remember exactly what was said or find it again. So we'll just skip on past that. But I do want to go back in and look for the phone thing on that one. So thank you for that, because I will do that. Thank you very much. But the Mad Greek thing is wild. But we're going to go through that article, and then I want to go over that podcast thing because it's just some interesting stuff that they say. Did you guys read that Idaho Statesman's article that said BK tried to make a run for it down to his bedroom? Oh, that's what it says in this. I know that they said that they were looking at him through a sniper rifle, basically like a scope. And that's whenever they saw him in the kitchen and then go towards the back balcony and then go back into the garage. But they did say that by the time they actually like broke into the house, he was in his bedroom. I do remember that. So I don't know if you can make a break for it by secluding yourself into a bedroom that you can't get out of. Making a break for it to me would have been like him running out the back slider and trying to actually run for it. So that's awesome wording. We're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. I just don't understand the ridiculousness. Have you? Oh my God, I'm so glad you said something. Have y'all been seeing those videos? Yes, people freaking out, not freaking out, but like cheering about like torture and stuff going on in the prison. How are we the bad guys? How are we the bad guys for wanting truth and answers and for not cheering on for, you know, coerced and asked for R wording and torture and torment and stuff like that? You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure it was from that stupid jumpsuit Pablo idiot. Okay. I'm pretty sure it was his. I'll say that confidently, even though I don't even have it. Like, I don't know exactly, but I will say that confidently because that's what my brain is telling me in the picture that I have of it in my head. It was posted like a couple of hours ago, and it's about how people are like yelling at him through the vents and stuff like that. And it has his face. And then like right above the like portion of the thumbnail where it has the prison guy like yelling through the vents, it says STAB him with exclamation point. Like, you have people that watch you that are in prison constantly, and you're literally calling out for this kind of thing to happen by putting that sort of like big exclamation thing on your thumbnail. I don't know how that kind of crap is allowed. Like, how does YouTube just allow that kind of shit? It's actually insane. Yes. Yeah, and see, that's what makes me mad too. Like, the truth needs to come out. I just don't understand why so many things are being like hidden unless there's a reason. And I'm pretty sure that most of us know the reason. It's just disgusting that this is where it's gone. Yeah, I'm still waiting. I put in another request today for a different address. Yeah, that G guy is interesting. Especially with him like blaming the school for all the problems he has with his mother. And then admitting, well, see, but then again, this is just like something somebody is saying, so that's another thing. But to go so far as to say that, like, he said that he followed them from the college to the Mad Greek, and then from the Mad Greek back to the house, and then, you know, was in the house whenever they came home one day and was like, I could have done something then, da-da-da. If that's legitimate, like, I don't know how the cops wouldn't have at least, like, taken that more seriously just for the fact that he was, like, a ticking time bomb if he hadn't already gone off several times before. Because that's insane. So, yeah, I want to look more into that. I want to, I need to find out who the frick that dude is so that I can put, like, a FOIA request. Because I need to. Hey there, Tiff. I still believe the murders happened earlier. The DoorDash was accompanying traffic or an integral part of the cover-up. Man. There's, like, so much. There's, like, so much. Everything with the DoorDash still doesn't make sense. I'll just tell y'all now, today was the day that I sent the FOIA in for the camera across the street from King Road. I don't know if they're going to give it to me though. And I am outside of Idaho, so it's going to take like a little bit longer for them to respond to me. But right across the street, and if you look at the footage that they have for those like 4 cowboys coming out, that's about like the last time you can really get like a good view of this area that I'm talking about. It's right across the street, and it's like 712 Queen. Mikey actually sent me some information in an email for a video that I think her name is Swamp Rose did on some information that he had sent her like over a year ago about that address. But if you look on the map itself, right across from the parking area is like 712, 714, 720, and like another one. So I basically, like, I referenced the report number for the DoorDash one that Brett Payne wrote up whenever he spoke to Molly, and referenced exactly like verbatim. I typed out in the request exactly what the report said for what I was wanting, because it literally says it can see her pull into King Road, like into the parking area of the house. And then here comes the white Elantra. Okay, so if you've got camera footage that actually shows that, then how are you having to use Ridge Road to get like a good view of what kind of car this is? Like, I'm sorry, that doesn't make any freaking sense. And the only thing I can really think of is it has to be something right across the way. And right before they blurred everything out, I remember seeing what looked like a camera over on across the street. Now, it could be maybe a camera on the back of 1118 King Road, the Shark Tank house next door. Maybe there's even a possibility that 1112 had one in the back, because whenever they say that the camera that picked up all the noises was 50 feet away from Xana's window, for some reason I feel like the front of 1112 is too far to be 50 feet. But then again, the cops have been either exaggeratingly incorrect or very underwhelmingly incorrect on like 1,000 things in this case. So it might not even be 50 feet, and it could really just be that camera. But I always wondered why we didn't hear anything about like what 1118 might have heard or seen, if they had cameras or not. But I hope that they give me an answer on this footage, like this legit footage, because this is the one where the car is, and then the one across from that street. And even if I have the address wrong, I said in my request, like, either this address or exactly what showed whatever this is talking about. And then I put it in there verbatim and referenced everything. So they should have no problem figuring out what I'm asking for. So we'll see. Hey, Psychosven. I'm very impressed with the sheer work that Jules has done going through all of the release documents on the channel. I try to go through everything. I didn't know how to share screen or do any of that stuff whenever I first started. So I would go in and read them and then give like a summary. But once I like learned how to do all that other stuff, we were basically going through everything. Dang, it was already 2 o'clock at 8 o'clock. Oh, well, yeah, you got 30 minutes. So it's like 2:30 now, 2:38. That's crazy. That's so far away here. That's like 6 hours away now. Yeah, I do everything. I edit, I do all the research. That's why it takes me a while to like catch up with stuff, because I don't have an option but to do everything myself, because you can't trust people. And that's why I don't have mods either. Like if somebody crosses a line, I'm kicking them out myself. But for the most part, people, even if they disagree on innocence or guilt or whatever, like y'all can normally have like conversations without there being any issues. And the channel's like 3 years old now, and I've gone this far without needing mods. I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing. I'm suffering from whiplash trying to connect all the insane people who are trying to stay relevant. They make no freaking sense. Jules, please keep it going here. I just want the truth. And as long as there's official information, there's no reason not to go over the official information. So anyone who's complaining about channels that are still talking about this case are obviously just ignorant. Because why wouldn't you talk about it whenever there's new documents, whenever there's new evidence, whenever there's finally going to be some answers? Why would now, whenever things are going to be becoming unsealed, why would now be the time that you stop talking about the case? It makes no sense. Makes no sense. The ones who spent 2 years sure there was a cover-up who've abandoned ship. Yeah, because nothing makes any sense still. We have no answers. This is where I'm at. Because we've already seen so many cases where people plead guilty, or regardless of whatever happens at trial, they're found guilty. And then years and years and years and years later, something happens. Some secrets finally start spilling out and they're exonerated and the right person is put in jail. We went over a small handful, and 31 is not technically a small handful. That's a lot of people. Some singly targeted, some as a group that took the fall for things that they didn't do collectively. And that was an older article. There are hundreds, if not thousands, of people that this kind of stuff happens to all of the time. And the only way that I'm going to actually believe anything, okay, is if some sort of written statement or verbal statement comes out from Bryan Kohberger that leads to the knife being found, the actual knife being found. If he comes out and gives, yep, this is how I did it. This is whenever I left. This is what I wore. This is where the knife is. Yep, I did it. Then I've got nothing to say. But when did we ever get anything remotely close to that? We didn't. For the majority, and I believe this as well, he did this to save his own life. But I just don't really know what steps are going to be taken here, because there's like a deadline, and I think that deadline's coming up like pretty quickly here. But some people have made a couple of comments about how if he were to appeal right now, Ann Taylor would still be his attorney, and maybe that's what he doesn't want. So I don't know if that matters. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know. But we'll see what happens. I know that the deadline being passed with nothing being filed is going to be something to sit and think about. Regardless, honestly. Unless there's some sort of loophole that we don't know about, that the judge didn't figure out. I don't know. But it is something to think about. Hey, DKM. How you doing? Hey there, Patty. Yeah, a couple of days ago it said the Beautiful Four. Like if you look up King Road, it says Popo Coffee Shop. At first it said it on like earlier today whenever I went to go look at it. You know what? Let me see if I can pull it up. See if it changed. Because actually, a couple of months ago it was something else. Like it was a business name, and like it had a website linked to it, and a person's face linked to it, and like all kinds of things. Like it was for real. And I was like, what the frick frack is this? I had taken some screenshots of it, but then, you know, just got rid of it because I was like, I don't know how like crazy this person is. So let's just not do this. Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, let me share this with you guys real quick. I'll show you. No, not that. Okay. Oh, I don't know why it puts me up there like that. That's so stupid. Okay. So right here, it says Popo, and it shows that it's a coffee shop. And that's like what they call cops. Right here. But see, this is 1126 right here. And this is 1118. So whenever they're talking about the footprints, this is what I was talking about. The one report says that it goes towards the front this way. And the other one says that they disappear in between 11:26 and 11:18. So which one is it? Which one is it? But there was like a whole nother business right here that said something real weird. It did say the beautiful four, and see how it moves? See how it just moved? So Google's tripping. Google's always tripping. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it keeps doing that back and forth stuff. I have no idea. Hey there, Miller Time. Hey, Ginger. Does anybody know what the angle is where they're trying to tie the Coeur d'Alene firefighter ambush to a BK witness? Girl, I don't know. Let me find out. Let me do some research and see what people are talking about. Because I know that was a thing whenever it first happened, and it happened like right before the plea. I just don't know what people are talking about. I just was like, this is ridiculous in my opinion, because it was way too public. It wouldn't have made any sense for it to have any connection to anything. Plus, where was a firefighter like involved in this case? Just because Dylan said that she saw a firefighter, we all know that she's a little bit, okay. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know if there was something that was like official. I don't know if there was a subpoena with somebody's name on it that was found. Girl, I don't know. But I'm interested to find out. I was interested to find out whenever it came out, but then a bunch of like official things came out, and I just like I forgot all about that. So I'll look into that. Boba is tapioca. They put it at the bottom of the tea. My 7-year-old and my 18-year-old absolutely love boba. I don't. Hey there, Crystal. Hey, Jen James. Hey, Raphael Penguin. How you doing? Yeah, it's made with tapioca. I want to learn how to make it though, because my 7-year-old literally loves it. Every time I do a grocery run, like delivery pickup, doesn't matter. I have to make sure I have him a boba tea in his thingy so that he can have it. Hey, Sadie. Hey there, Jeffrey. Hey, Gracefully Salty. Yeah, I would sort of agree with that. My son is kind of like really sensitive to certain textures with things, but for boba, nah, it's all day, every day. All day, every day. Hey there, Patty. Hey, Marie, how you doing? See, I guess it depends, because they do have some that just like sort of pop. Some of them that really aren't jelly. I guess it just all depends. I mean, we could totally do like a 48-hour marathon on one weekend. Why not? I mean, it's wild. I know. There's been a lot just over the past week. Had to block Banfield, Inton, and Grace. They've been out of line. They've been so out of line. Yeah. Since we actually, the first video on this case was November 22nd, 2022. Yeah, I was following it on Twitter for a couple of days, and then eventually I was just like, we have to talk about this. This is just insane. An argument with some arseholes over at Court TV. Why I even bothered is beyond me. It's like impossible to even argue with people sometimes. Because look, for example, the video that I posted not earlier, but yesterday, of me like slowing down the footage of 11:12, I said in the very beginning of the video, this was not 11:22 like in the video. Because at first, whenever that screenshot first came out with the pumpkins, I was even like, holy crap, is that the house, for like a day or so? And then realized, hold on a minute. No, that's not the house. But it was kind of confusing at first if you really didn't get like clarity, especially being so new, like the case being so new at the time of the screenshot coming out. Not like new, but it was like new enough to where we were really trying to like figure out everybody else's information and not really looking at the house too much. But whenever it comes to the video, I literally said in the video itself that this was not 11:22. I described exactly where it was. I said this was 11:19. It is right in front of the house. Where this camera is a house that was sort of off to the side. So technically it would be behind the camera. That's why you know, this is not 1122 because 1122 is behind this house where this camera is. And I still had people in the comments asking me, what house are we looking at? And then even in the beginning of the video, it said like on the top on the house, like not 1122. And I still had people in the comments, what house is this? Is this the house? So I don't know if they're like actually serious or just like sarcastic, but like that's why you really just can't bother, because you can lay it out in like black and white, perfectly clear, and you'll still have a million people who take it 1,000 different ways except for what it actually is. It's exhausting. Yeah, me too. Hey, Tara. Oh yeah, we start on the 2nd. We always start in like September. We're starting on September 2nd. Fun stuff. Too many answers that don't freaking fit is the problem. They are interesting. There's definitely some things I have several questions about. Welcome, welcome, Wild Beal. Well, thank you. I've sat around in this curly thing all day just to try to make my hair look not crazy. I'm glad that it worked. I'm glad that it worked. Oh, you like comment? Oh, so you watch me on the TV, but then you're in your chat on your phone? That's smart. Thank you, thank you. I mean, it's sort of wavy, but like dead at the ends pretty much. It's like the only... I bought this thing on Amazon for like $7.99. It's just one of those like satin loop thingies. You just put it around it, and then I have this like cap thing I wear. Yeah. Yeah, unredacted, but probably censored out, honestly. Yeah, you're probably not wrong. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, it's hard to decipher what pieces of it's factual, especially whenever like different versions of the same thing are coming out at the exact same time. It's like, okay, especially since like back in those, that's their like freshest recollection. So then whenever we see later on down the line in the Moscow documents, especially how some of them are being written like a year and a half, 2 years later, I'm like, bro. And then on some of them, it's like not a watchdog event, meaning no camera was on. And I'm just like, so how are you remembering this? Like, what? How are you remembering this? Hey there, Jens. How you doing? No, you're still green. You're green. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, everything with them is so weird. Everything with them is really weird. Especially here lately. Because like they're kind of like not filtering the bullshit that's coming out of their faces anymore. Like right before the book released, they did this one interview. I think it was the same one where we finally were told that they keep him in their basement. She basically says that she used like Ethan as a card against Hunter and Maisie when it came to like going back to the University of Idaho. Like they're talking about how Ethan would have wanted them to finish what they started and da-da-da-da. And she's like, and we played that card. And I'm like, oh, so you manipulated your children to go somewhere they didn't want to go? And then I think back to how Hunter was in a room where his window faced 1122 King Road where his brother was killed. And I'm like, so you like didn't care that your son was like in the same room where he could like overlook this and feel like shit every single day? Like they could have finished college anywhere. And instead they used the Ethan card against them. It was done to make a statement. There's nobody's going to change my mind. It was done to make a statement, and it's a disgusting one. There's something else going on there. Hey there, Matt. Yeah, see, the thing with that, I was talking to my buddy about this earlier because we're still trying to figure out exactly what's going on with Ethan in that picture. Because the reports are saying it like his head was hanging off of the bed between the bed and the wall. But then if you look at the photo, it's flush. The bed is flush against the wall. So where is his freaking head hanging off? So that right there has a lot of people questioning if something else had happened completely. I don't believe so. I don't think it went that far. Based on something I really can't validate because the Patterson book is freaking trash, but it was the freaking Chapins who gave them this information. And according to the book, when it comes to the funeral, it was open casket. It was open casket, apparently, because there's a part in there where it's like Stacy and Hunter are standing at the casket And Hunter like leans over and says to her like something about, do you know the reason why Ethan wanted that mustache? And they go into the story of why. Something about a movie. I think a Tom Cruise movie or something like that. I can't remember exactly. So I'm like, okay, so he was good enough for you to have an open casket and then you cremated him. Why? Because it makes it harder to do toxicology on ashes? I know all about that. There's just a lot. Geez, there's so much with them. But when it comes to the photos, it's hard to like trust the reports because, again, what we're seeing doesn't really match. And just like they're trying to say that his legs were hanging off. I mean, I've said it already. Like you can see where like the whites of his socks were still like a good maybe foot, maybe a little bit less, but close to like 10 inches to a foot away from the edge of the bed. And if you're telling me that somebody's legs are hanging off the bed, I'm expect to see their feet hanging off the edge of the freaking bed, either like to the point to where their knees are bending, but at least like you'd see it hanging over the bed. That's not what we see. We see a much shorter situation on that bed. So yeah, the reports are iffy. So, I mean, really, we need like body cam. We need body cam and we need to be able to compare the body cam to the photos because we can't trust their words. We have some saying, oh, they were covered in blankets. Some saying their bodies were covered in dried blood. Well, if their bodies were covered in dried blood, how would you know that if they were covered in blankets? I don't know why Nunez doesn't mention blankets. He was the first one in. So I don't know. It could just be nothing. It could just be something that he just doesn't put in his descriptions. But to me, all but Xana being covered up is an interesting concept. And in one of the reports, it mentions more of like a pool around like Kaylee's midsection than it does her face. Almost like maybe whatever happened here happened maybe actually after. Maybe, which is why whenever there is like a portion of the pillow on the side of the bed where that light switches and like the mop looking macrame, okay, hanging on the wall, that the pillow doesn't look like the spot is big enough for everything that we've been told. Because we were told by Steve that the injuries to Kaylee's face alone would have like taken her life. So what if like she was, you know, with the blade elsewhere and that's what actually like stopped her heart, which would it then stop the blood flow with, you know, it'd be like more like post-mortem injuries to her face, which is definitely like a bigger anger flag when it comes to this, like whoever would have done it. Those are the kinds of things that we need to know more about. Because the report making it sound as if there was more blood around her midsection than there was her head area, even though it was disfigured, is an interesting change in the way that you look at it. Plus now when it comes to Warner, he's like going into the room and checking Maddie's leg for lividity. And he's there, you know, hours before Payne. But Payne is the first person that you even hear anything about the sheath in the reports. Not a single freaking person mentions a sheath. And he would have gotten there at like 4 p.m. with Blaker at 4 o'clock. And Snyder, hold on, my dog's dreaming. Okay. He gets really loud whenever he dreams. And he starts like, I guess, running and chasing things. And I have to be like, Boomer, wake up, and like clap a little bit. And then he comes back down. Okay. Snyder, in his report, he describes like going into the house, like the way that he went. And he was there. The way that it's written in there, he was one of the first people there. Going in and taking photos before anybody was removed or anything was removed. The bodies are apparently still in the photos, according to the response that I got. And if we take that and compare it to, I believe it's supplemental number 4 that was written by Snyder. He finishes up everything that he's doing at, I think it said 17:49, so 5:49. That's an hour and 49 minutes after Brett Payne would have gotten there. But at some point in time, and probably fairly quickly, he's outside, like doing other things. Like he takes all the photos and he sort of describes a little bit about what he does and how he goes around. But then at some point he's outside. He's like one of the first officers that Jack Jacor talks to. So considering that Jack Jacor like got down there fairly well, at least that's how I'm remembering it right now, because it describes how Jack is like explaining that he is the ex-boyfriend and that they share a dog. And he's like, I noted how he didn't have any injuries on his hands or his forearms. And that's what, you would expect to see injuries for whoever did whatever happened in that house. And then it says how later on the whole thing with like Murphy and how Jack picked up Murphy, which I know there's a lot of people talking about a certain situation when it comes to Murphy. I'll do a video about that soon here, putting everything together. I don't know for sure if it was a theft situation. I don't know for sure. I've heard the call. I've read the documents myself. I think they just all suck at communicating. And I also feel like the Humane Society probably has cameras. I'm hoping they have cameras. I might send an email and ask. There has to be something that can give them like exact times for things. But I know that there was like a report and the dog was brought in. And I know that was a Sunday, but the police have like ways to access things. And plus, they're not just going to leave the animals in the shelter all weekend without like having a human in the shelter. They're going to have somebody that's in there and feeding them and watering them and taking care of them. They're just not going to be open to the public on a Sunday. So again, just because the doors are closed and like something went a little weird and somebody called in, because Jack D ended up with the damn dog, I don't feel like there was like a stolen situation. I just feel like they really suck at communicating with each other, especially like the heat of like whatever was going on. I mean, there's stuff with Murphy that's hella questionable. Hella questionable. I just think it was a lack of communication. That's just my opinion. Because I'm trying to be as like neutral as possible. And I'm just like, there's no way that every little thing can be part of some sort of like crazy thing. I really do believe with Murphy, it was just a lack of communication skills between people that needed to be communicated with. But that's just me. We'll figure that out and I might change my mind whenever I go through everything. But that's my opinion right now. Hey there, Willie. Hey there, a little blue. Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah, because somebody can go in there and change it. Google, this is what makes no sense to me. Google has gone in and like completely destroyed Google Map imaging. Like it's like 18, 19, 20-ish years old images that are on there now, which honestly, why? Why? If y'all destroyed the house and it's not down there anymore, then why can't you unblur whatever the frick you did, right? So they want to be so secretive and like so private. But someone's allowed to go in there and just like change the information, because like 1122 now says like the beautiful four. But a couple of months ago, it was another business, like some random guy. Like there was a link to his website. You saw his face, like all of the things. Okay. There was a phone number, all kinds of stuff. And now we have like this coffee shop thing. But I showed the map earlier, and like if you scroll in and out, it jumps from 1122 over to, is it 1126 or 1118? One of the houses next to it, like the spot for the coffee shop jumps back and forth. It's totally stupid. But that's why I don't understand why they just allow them to do that. Like, why do you allow them to do that if you're making everything so quiet, so private? Why can't anybody just go in there and change it up like that? So far, it's just Brett Payne, and he gets there after 4:00. But we also know that in this report now, he's like, oh, and I stayed in the room for a few minutes or whatever before leaving. I'm like, oh, you did? No wonder they didn't let you put that part in the final PCA. Come on now. Yeah, insane stuff. Yeah, see, that part too about the footprints, but it's still interesting because one of the officers is like, there was no recent snow. But they're only saying that there's like one set. Unless it is two different sets and like they're not communicating with each other about what else they're seeing. We're not going to really know until we get the full photos. But I wonder if we could go back in. No, I guess not, because there would be more people walking around by then. I was going to say, I wonder if we could go back into like the drone footage and see like exactly the way that they went, because the photos that they've released so far, well, The photos that they sent to the media that the media cherry picked and released so far don't show the whole everything. But we also don't know like just how thorough Snyder took the photos. But we also know that Snyder was not the only one to take photos. Not the only agency to take photos, not the only department to take photos. ISP, they were beginning to prepare. Like they were starting to like get their stuff together, get their outfits on, get their booties on, and all the things they were going to be needing to have ready to go whenever they went inside to start getting evidence gathered, which should mean that for over 4 hours at that point, no one had touched anyone. So what did you do, Payne, in order to see that there was a sheath? Somebody move somebody. Like there's no way around that at this point. Like how am I supposed to believe that you didn't move her body in order to see something unless you're the one who planted it there? I don't even know anymore. So he's claiming that he was in the room with ISP. I'm going to pull his paperwork back up. I don't remember him saying that he was in the room with ISP. I mean, I guess that part could be possible because they were walking around and around the same time. Let me see. Let me open this right here so you guys can see this real quick. Oh, why doesn't it save my setting? Okay. 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 Talking about the bathroom sharing a wall with Madison's bedroom, which was situated on the southeast corner of the 3rd floor. As I entered this bedroom, I could see 2 females in a single bed in the room. The bed was situated along the north wall of the bedroom, and both females, later identified as Mogen and Goncalves, were laying on their backs with their heads towards the east and their feet towards the west, which was also the direction of the only door in the room. Both Goncalves and Mogen had numerous visible wounds and were covered in a significant amount of red. I also later noticed what appeared to be a tan leather knife sheath laying on the bed next to Mogen's right side when viewed from the door, which means her actual left side, because her right leg was actually hanging off of the bed, according to Warner. Is it Warner or Warner? It's one of those two. His first name's Eric. I remained in the room for a moment and then proceeded outside. I remained on scene and conducted several more thorough walkthroughs of the scene with the ISP forensic team, the Latah County coroner. See, okay, right here where it says that he went back and walked through with the ISP forensic team. If he was doing a walkthrough with them and noticed it as they were the ones moving the body, I still have issues with that too, because they weren't supposed to move anything until after Mabbitt got there. So the timing of this right here, the timing of whenever he actually saw it, the timing of him being in the room with ISP at the same time would all matter because Mabbitt didn't get there until after 5. It could have been after 5:30. And they're not supposed to touch anything until after she does what she's supposed to do. So body cam, Brett Payne's body cam. That's the one. That's the one. In my opinion. That's the one that we need. Yeah. Not just that, but there's a whole other like sentence of what the male voice said. You're going to be fine. Not going to be. It was very informal. You're going to be fine. I'm going to help you is what is in the original report. You're going to be fine. I'm going to help you. None of them were fine. So what the frick is that about? Didn't the doc say Ethan was on the bed, head to the south? On bed, head to the south, head to the north. You mean feet to the south, head to the north? But Xana's bed was facing east to west. Let me look at my head real quick. The house was positioned this way. North is that way. No, his feet would have been to the south, his head to the north, and that was the position of the bed. Because, okay, so on the map, north would be this way, and the entrance to the house would be right here. So the direction where her, yeah, because the way that the door would have opened, yeah, no, that's right. Because they said that her head was to the west and her feet were to the east. I'm pretty positive. That just means to me that she was laying on the floor parallel to the end of the bed. Yeah, see that part right there. Payne said he later learned of the sheath. That's, yeah. Later saw, later learned, later something. Like, what were you doing? What were you doing to where you're the only person? Where were you whenever the bodies weren't supposed to be being moved? I just don't understand that. And I don't understand that at all, honestly, because that timeline doesn't really work well with what we've been hearing from Fry. And I say that based off the interview that he did for James Patterson's book. So let's take it to 4 p.m., okay? Because I don't know how long it took for him to get back to town. I don't know if he gave an example for that. But the way that he gives the detail is that the knife sheath was found before he got the phone call from Captain Barrett about what was going on. And he was still driving back from being out of town. And it doesn't seem like it was a very long, like within the first hour. It's really kind of difficult to figure out the timeline in the book. I ended up like writing it in the front because it didn't give the dates. I mean, it didn't give the times for this. Because if he was told within the first hour, then how the frick is Payne the first one to have seen the sheath whenever he didn't get there until after 4 o'clock is like where I'm getting with this. So the first portion where they mention the sheath is like around 1 p.m. And then the second portion is an hour before. So that would have been around noon. That's never all the information starts. So the sheath was found before 2 p.m. is how I'm understanding this information. Let me find the page. Okay. Yeah. So within the first... Oh my God. Okay. Okay, so it says that it's on a Sunday and he's an hour into a 4-hour drive. And he gets a call about what's going on. And the only thing that I can assume at this point is like he left to head home at around noon, conveniently. And it's around 1 p.m. whenever he gets a call from Barrett. And at the end of this, on page 6, right, it says Barrett shared with Fry that a knife sheath was found in one of the rooms. It's imperative that this doesn't get out. It says it right here. So if that's the case, and Chief Fry was told this literally as it's going on, because it says an hour later. So an hour after they've had this discussion about how a knife sheath was found and it had to be kept hush hush, they're talking about how, let's see, hold on, where's it at? Oh, never mind. This is that other case. Yeah. So, and then, so 3 starts with 2 hours earlier with Officer Nunez showing up. That's whenever I could figure out the timeline for that, because that's at noon. And this other portion is an hour later. So yeah, he knew before 1 p.m. that there was a knife sheath. So if Brett Payne didn't get there until after 4 p.m., then how is Barrett telling Fry on the phone around 1 p.m. that there was a knife sheath found on scene, but Brett Payne is supposed to be the first one to have seen it? Does that make sense, that question? That doesn't add up. That doesn't add up at all. Why is there not a single police report about the actual video that we've all seen? I think we did see a report about it. I'm pretty sure we saw a couple different reports about it. We don't have the information for what they were talking about. They didn't give us that. But part of the document said something about how the guy that owns the Christ Church, I can't remember his name. Anyway, the church apparently owns the building where that footage came from, according to the reports that we saw. Yep, that's what we're going to be going over here. Yeah, that's what we're about to go over. And it doesn't make any sense to what we were told at all. So Bryan was seen with bruised knuckles after. I don't know. There's only been one report about that. And it was an interview that was done, I think, like 2 years after the fact. We went through it on the MPD reports. Everyone else that had come out and talked about him being in class afterwards said he didn't have anything visible. So I don't know. That's just the one. Did you see Chris Ingles' report from 2023 that he just signed his name to today? I had documents come out from Pullman yesterday, but I didn't see anything that was dated 8/14/25. I know that when it comes to Chris Ingles, he was involved in quite a few things. Ann Taylor, one of the investigators, had wanted to speak to him, like face-to-face about something, but it doesn't really give the detail as to what. Hey, Moonvale. Okay, let me go in and see what else I missed over here, and then we can get started on this article. Thank you so much for the $3, Couch Detective. Thank you so much. Hey, K9 Captain, how you doing? 15 months. Thank you for being here for so long. I finally got the deets on BK and BP military schools and additional duties. Interesting stuff. I'll email you tomorrow. Glad to. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. We've been trying to figure out what's going on with Brett Payne and Brent Kopaka's military background. Just to like see if there's any connections to stuff, because Kopaka is being named in a couple of things. And now in the Pullman documents, they have like a knife that was found in the gutters that had the blade taken off. And because it wasn't a K-bar, they didn't really take it seriously, which is ignorant because they really haven't been able to really validate anything when it comes to the weapon. I know that they can say whatever they want to, but they haven't produced anything. And whenever you've got a knife being hidden like in the gutters at the coffee house apartments and it's got the handle missing, that's usually because whoever like tossed it was trying to like hide any of their DNA from, being found on the handle. And then they put it in the gutter so the rain would wash away everything. So there's that. We're going to be going through that stuff too. And there's like video of whenever they went over there and got it. And I do remember, this is the part that I'm trying to connect though. I remember that in the MPD documents that there was a report that we read where there was a painter talking about a knife that was found at an apartment complex, and painters are the ones who reported the knife that was found at coffee house apartments. Yeah. So I'm going to do a video about that soon and try to like figure out what the frick is going on with that one. 5 months. This case is a mess. A freaking huge mess. Thanks for the 20, Miss Macy. Trustworthy, loyal, and lovable. Oh, I try to be. Thank you. Can't remember. Did it show the sheath was collected from the evidence log? Thanks for the $4.99, Whitney. No. Well, yeah, I think it does it's confusing. I know that it's in there, but we also have like another purchase that was made. They went in and repurchased like from the Amazon link, the knife, the sheath, and the sharpener at some point. It was way before, not way before. It was way after. Like, it was recent. Like, they were just going in and like looking at the car. I think the freaking dates were like 2024. It could have even been like earlier this year, honestly. they did a lot of stuff really delayed. So I know that they do have like the Sheath listed on the big like 29-page document that's in the very beginning of the MPD drop. But again, whenever it comes to the photos that were taken that there's an inventory list of, there's nothing mentioned there. So I don't know, again, how Fry is getting told by 1 p.m. that there is a knife sheath under Maddie if Brett Payne didn't get there till after 4 p.m. and he's apparently the one who found it. I need somebody to explain that to me like I'm 5, because that doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me. 23 months, Melinda. That's crazy. Do you have Adam's interviews? What did Maddie say? No, there isn't anything that I remember. Now, again, I am going back in, like I mentioned, and indexing all of them. I'm probably going to work on it a little bit tonight after we get off this live. I know Adam was mentioned, like in initials, AL, and like the, being a bartender at the bar was mentioned. But when it comes to like an actual interview, no. I honestly feel like the majority of the interview information is going to come from ISP. Like the big interrogation type interviews, it's going to either be the feds or ISP. Like in Kylie Rodney's case, her boyfriend that a lot of people had a lot of questions for was, grilled by the feds for like ever. Truckee never really talked to him, but the feds like really laid in on him. And we know that they took over like here really quickly. Like there was a fed on scene before Fry even got back to Moscow that just like magically showed up the next day at Moscow PD and like magically apparently like showed up right whenever Fry was thinking about like contacting the feds. He was like magically there according to the book. Yeah. So when it comes to Adam, no, we haven't mentioned like one time. That's pretty much about it. Thank you for your $20, Blue Eyed Candy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Okay, we're going to go ahead and pull this travesty up. We're going to go ahead and get this article started. Let me get all the way down here. Well, I was like really behind. I talked my face off. I'm like way behind in the comments. Oh, Inton says ISP released 600 documents today. Where? Let's find out. Let me go straight to their website. I know that I had requested some stuff from them and they had told me no. And then I restructured my request and then they were like, okay, now you have like a number and now you have to wait. I haven't gotten any emails from them. I just checked again. I don't have anything from them. So I guess I can type in Kohberger and see. Unless they were sending them out FOIA request. Yeah, there's nothing here. Let me see what he's saying. Is it on Twitter or is it on his channel? Let's see. Oh, I just went through with the latest 600 pages of just released Bryan Kohberger police reports. I knew faculty and students had complained about Kohberger at Washington State University. I didn't know the extent of it. Full debrief. Well, where the frick are the documents, though? So he doesn't mention anything on here about where they actually are. I mean, they probably do the releases like in chronological order. It's been, let me look at my email and see when I sent that off. Because I requested like any and everything. I think I even read it to you guys. The one, I think it was like in the last live we did. July 31st was whenever I responded back to them and got a request number for everything that I was asking for. And I don't have anything stating that anything has been released. Let me look at his. I'm not going to like play whatever he said because I don't want his interpretation. I just want to know where he got them from. Hold on. I'll tell you what he says. I printed them all at Staples. Corey, get to the point. He's not saying where. Oh, so apparently in these ISP documents is something said from Dylan. At least where? Yeah, he's not saying where he got them. I don't want to show the video. I'm just trying to see where he said he got them. Okay, we'll listen to this real quick. He's going to read the one from Dylan. We'll listen to this one real quick, and then we'll get on with this other document. That document. Why do I keep calling it a freaking document? Then we'll go on to this article. Yeah, I haven't gotten anything for this yet, so we'll see whenever I get something from this, because they don't have anything on their website that I know of. I typed in Kohberger. I'm like looking for stuff. Because like Pullman did their own website like page for the Kohberger case, but it goes to like a Google Drive with a bunch of their like zip files and stuff like that. And if you go to like ISP's website and you type in Kohberger, nothing shows up. See, nothing shows up. And I know that he said it on his Twitter account, but he's not saying like if he got them from the FOIA request or if they were sent. See, like he doesn't. See, this right here, this girl's like, I'm reading them now. How scared were you when you saw this? This isn't from ISP. This is something that came in the Pullman document drop from yesterday. Okay, here's the picture y'all were talking about of him in his cell. But where, okay, I want to know where he's getting these from. I'm going to do some looking and see if I can find the answer, because he's definitely not saying how he got it. It's probably a FOIA response. So let me see. Share this tab. Let's see what he says Dylan had to say. Let me fix this. So we'll listen to just this portion of this, and then we'll go on to this article, and I'll look around and see what's going on. Okay, let's see.
She gave a very detailed account to police.
I had it 2 times speed. Hold on.
A future episode where I, go back to some other nuggets. But I want to start with, this is the narrative, the roommate, Dylan Mortonson.
And it's at 1.25.
She gave a very detailed account to police. And a lot of this stuff is going to be stuff that we know the basics, but now we have the detail. So I'm going to read you detailed Dylan's account of what she told the police when she was first interviewed. And then I'm going to get to, just so you know what else is coming up, there's a ton of reports from people who were in class with Bryan Kohberger at Washington State and colleagues of his who are also in the PhD program. Just really disturbing stuff. I knew some of this, that they thought he was sexist and that he was rude to women in class, but like this goes much deeper. So I'm also going to get to that after I read you this, what Dylan Mortonson said during her interview. So I'm a little sick. So we cough first. All right. This is Dylan when she talked to police.
Mm-hmm.
She advised around 4 a.m. or 4:20 a.m. She heard Kaylee singing and playing music. She heard who she believed Kaylee was walking up the stairs, and blank advised she heard Kaylee say, "Someone's here." She sounded frantic. And they don't name Dylan here, but I've just pieced together that that's who it is. Blank described Kaylee's tone as somewhere between talking and yelling. She believed it was Kaylee who was walking up the stairs with Murphy. She said she heard who she believed to be Kaylee running down the stairs. She advised Murphy was barking.
Okay, see, Ann Taylor had said that. Ann Taylor is the one that said that it seemed as if Kaylee would have been what Dylan saw going up the stairs and then seeing somebody upstairs, freaking out, turning around, going back downstairs. And that portion of it started making a lot more sense considering the fact that now we're being told that they were like hanging out in the living room watching Vampire Diaries and stuff, which is on the second floor.
At this time. She does not believe Murphy is normally a barker. She further stated she believed it was Kaylee who was running down the stairs.
She doesn't believe he's normally a barker. He barked his head off for like 45 freaking minutes straight, bro. Neighbors from all kinds of different directions reported hearing him until almost 5 a.m. Or hearing a dog, at least, that they think is Murphy until 5 a.m.
After she heard her say, "Someone is here." She further explained she does not know if she actually heard this or whether she was drunk and did not actually hear any of this.
See, so she's instantly, oh, my poor drunken self. No, you were adding contacts to your phone not 10 minutes before this. So shut up.
She heard the footsteps of who she believed to be Kaylee. She explained all the girls wear Doc Martens and that this is what she believed she was wearing, what she was hearing Kaylee coming down the stairs wearing. Her Doc Martens because of the sound of the footsteps coming down the stairs. Blank.
Interesting.
Called Blank at 4:19 a.m., then Xana at 4:20 a.m., Kaylee at 4:20 a.m., and then Blank again at 4:20 a.m. Blank advised, Blank told her about seeing fireworks. She texted Blank last time at 4:27 a.m. before she went to Blank's room.
See? So is that Dylan now saying fireworks too?
And then Xana at 4:20 a.m., Kaylee at 4:20 a.m., and then Blank again at 4:20 a.m. Blank advised, Blank told her about seeing fireworks.
Okay.
She texted.
So Dylan advised, Bethany told her about seeing fireworks. So again, we now have more confirmation that Bethany saw some shit too. Bethany saw some shit that didn't make sense. Bethany heard some shit that didn't make sense. And still collectively, they both decided to just do nothing.
Blank last time at 4:27 a.m. before she went to Blank's room. Blank then explained when she first opened her door and said she did not
see. Yeah, because Maddie had those boots on. I'd have to go back and see if Kaylee had on similar ones. Because I don't remember off the top of my head, but something in my brain is telling me that her shoes were white. Let me look. Yep. Kaylee's shoes were white. You can see right here. So the Doc Martens would have been Maddie if it was actually like a loud sound like that. Yeah, you were right, broskies.
See anyone. The second time when she opened the door, she heard who she believed to be Kaylee crying, and Blank believed Kaylee was in the second floor bathroom. She then heard a male voice, which she stated she had never heard before, say, "It's okay, I'm going to help you."
You're going to be fine, I'm going to help you, is in report number 1.
Blank believed the unidentified male was in the bathroom and with the person who was crying.
Okay, I'll say what a lot of people have been reminding me of, and I want you guys to put a 1 in the chat if you guys remember this too. Early on within the first like couple of days, around the same time that we heard that Dylan had like opened the door and yelled, "Shut the F up," because she heard like music and singing and like a party going on and rummaging upstairs. Put a 1 in the chat if you guys remember also hearing them stating that they heard water running. I believe it was Dylan that apparently the rumor was that she heard water running. Okay, I questioned in the very, very, very beginning if the drains were swabbed, if the drains were checked. We saw the HVAC guy there for like the vents and stuff like that, but I questioned from the freaking beginning because of the 8-hour delay if like washing machine drains were checked, if the bathroom drain was swabbed, like did they put a snake all the way down there in case they try to pour some chemicals in to get rid of any blood or anything? Like, was all those things checked? So now they're just clarifying here more the bathroom comment. Now, people were always wondering, why is Brett Payne in the PCA in Blaker 2 talking about the bathroom? Like, and I'm like, well, it's just directional. They're trying to give us like an idea, a visual of what it looks like, what the hallway looks like, where the bathroom is, all the things. Now her recollection was that it wasn't noise from inside of Xana's room. It was closer, like the bathroom. And I think back to the water running thing. Molly said somebody in the 3rd floor bathroom, though. And I don't think that Dylan would be hearing it as strongly if it was up there. But that too.
She believed it was Kaylee who was the one crying. Blank.
Okay, so before it was that she thought it was Xana that was the one crying in the bathroom. See, why is it that everything with Xana and Kaylee keep getting mixed up? Because it's not just like with this kind of thing, but it was also with Nunez because he's blaming it on Dylan. Like, according to Dylan, whoever was in the 2nd bedroom, the female was Kaylee. And then he fixes it later on. But then you also have to go back and remember that whenever they asked them if there was anyone else in the house, they were like, I don't know. Misinformation on purpose.
Stated that now, sorry, so there's some typos, but Blank stated that now she has gathered additional information and now believes it was probably Xana who was crying. At the moment of hearing the crying, She stated she believed it was Kaylee who was crying. She advised she knows the male's voice was not Ethan's. She described the last episode of Vampire Diaries, and she remembered it was 2 males rescuing a female. She explained it was not violent.
That's every episode.
She advised the male figure in the last episode was wearing all black, but Blank explained that that was normal for the series. Apparently they've been watching that. She's not certain whether...
Oh my God. Is she trying to say that she thought that she was imagining Vampire Diaries episode come to life? And because the guy was wearing all black? Like, is she trying to say that that's where the figure in all black came from? Oh my God. I can't.
She heard Murphy barking during the first time she opened her door, but she advised it was possible he was barking, but Murphy was moving away from the house. She described Murphy was a puppy and...
Moving away from the house, like physically they were moving out, or like the barking was getting like farther and farther away because Murphy was leaving the house. That's an odd statement put together.
Blank had just met him in August. She could not describe Murphy as being skittish. She advised she opened and closed her door a total of 3 times, and the 4th time is when she left her bedroom to go downstairs to Blank's bedroom. Blank advised she continued to call and text her roommates, but received no answer. She provided the times she called and texted her roommates, and the time span she advised would have been between 4:20 a.m. and 4:27 a.m. She advised she never thought about an intruder, and in her mind, she stated she was not processing what was occurring as threatening.
That's a lie, because she apparently grabbed her taser. So what you grabbing your taser for if you're not threatened? What are you telling Bethany in a text message that you're freaking out because you saw someone in all black and you're freaking out, but you're not in fear of anything? You're lying. One of those is true. The other one is a lie.
Not processing it as threatening. She advised she believed the male was directing his conversation of who she believed was Kaylee. She advised she did not believe the male was directing that statement to her.
That's a good one.
In discussing why the defender did not harm her, it was discussed that it was possible the male knew her and wanted to protect her. And she said she understood that that was possible, but
in her interview, she said it's possible whoever killed everyone in my house knew me and wanted to protect me. She said this shit. Oh my God. What? It's possible that they knew who I was and that's why my life was spared. What? Oh my God.
He denied knowing who the suspect was. Blank further explained she Snapchatted Ethan but received no answer from Ethan. Blank thought Ethan was still either at Blank Sigma Chi or was at home. She was not certain.
Okay, so you're telling me that almost 4 o'clock in the morning, you're not sure if Ethan and Xana are home yet. I'm sorry. That is not what we've been being told the entire time. Especially since we have in other reports that she's claiming that she saw Xana on the freaking ground, on the floor, as she's going to Bethany's room. He apparently got some information from ISP today, from the Idaho State Police. I've had my request in. The last time that I sent them my stuff was on July the 31st, because at first, when I sent them a request, they told me that saying like any and all blah, 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 blah related to this was too vague of a statement or some shit. So I had to go in and send them a novel, being very, very specific. And I sent it on July 31st. He's not claiming where he got these. I played a little bit of this off camera so that I can try to hear if he says if it was a FOIA response, if it's on the website somewhere, if there's been a website made. I looked on the ISP's website. I typed in Kohberger. I can't see it. And he did not say if it was a FOIA request or not. So we're still finding things out.
The first time Blank opened the door, she said her vision was blurry or fuzzy, but she advised she saw a figure of someone that was dressed in all black and they were masked, and he was holding an item of what she initially perceived was a vacuum, but she said that did not make sense to her. She described the suspect as not being muscular.
That part right there. My biggest red flag for me is that Bethany and Dylan have not spoken to any of the victims' families till this day. That's like bizarre. The only thing that they actually spoke about was at one of the memorials. Steve Goncalves went to the back where Dylan and Bethany were sitting. I believe it was the church one where letters that they wrote were read out loud by the pastor. As soon as he got back there, Bethany took off. She didn't want to say anything. She just took the frick off, okay? Steve asked Dylan if she heard or saw anything, and she lied to him and told him that she didn't see or hear anything. She was asleep the whole time. It was an effing lie, okay? So Steve has known since the very beginning of all of this that they're hiding something. He's known from day frickin' one they were hiding something. What clarified this for me, what concreted this for me, was Olivia coming out and claiming that before they knew exactly what was going on, she had messaged both Dylan and Bethany on social media to get information about why Kaylee and Maddie were not answering the phone, what was going on, all the things. And both of them just left her on red and has never said a single word to her, has never responded, has never said anything. I'm sorry. Why? If you're just some stupid, ignorant, little drunk moron who doesn't know how to call 911 like a third grader does, like a fifth grader does, like a kindergartner does, like a 3-year-old knows how to do, then why wouldn't you say something? Why are you both collectively choosing to not talk to them? Full of shit. Thank you for the $4.99. Got something to say. How does Dylan get away with changing her story so many times? That too. How? Because it's in text, it's in black and white. Every time she says something, it changes. But every time the cops reiterate things, it changes too. So like both of them can't keep up with what's going on because the source keeps changing everything. And the majority of it is Dylan. But Bethany is the one being hella quiet. She still didn't show up at the hearing. She had Emily frickin' speak for her. She's the one who apparently had exculpatory evidence, and she's the one being the most quiet. And like I've mentioned before, it feels like it's separated. Like it's Maddie and Kaylee and Dylan, and then it's Bethany, Xana, and Ethan over here on this side. See, they must be on a website somewhere. Unless they put their FOIA responses in before me, I'm not quite sure. Because I don't see them anywhere on a website. But he's not saying where he got them from. So let's finish listening to this.
But being skinny and toned like a basketball player. She further described him as being taller than 5'10" frame by at least 3 inches. So
down to, like, that's what I noticed. He had the same, like, wavy-ish hair that Bethany has in that black photo that so many people use whenever they have her in a thumbnail. Like, perfect little twinsy. So I'm really wondering, and I'll keep wondering this till the end of time, how does Emily feel now that all the truth is coming out about all the damn switched up stories and all the lies, and how it seems like they were lured over to take responsibility and the brunt of what happened when it comes to discovering the situation? Up all night on social media, making frantic phone calls, lawyering up so fast. Yeah. Absolutely wild. Thank you for the $10. Say it louder. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
He would have been 6 feet in height. She advised he had to have her call Kaylee and Xana, and she advised he had to have heard her call Kaylee and Xana, and she thought he would have had to have heard her calling for them, and she was confused as to why he did not come to her room.
Okay, so now she is admitting that she called out physically for Kaylee and Xana with her voice, yelled out of the door, and whoever was in there would have heard that, and she still was untouched.
A lot of us had
that part. I just noticed that it went from 5'10" in the it went from this being like actually at 6 feet, which matches like where Kohberger really is, because he's taller than that, or around that, and the 5'10". But then again, we have the police telling us 1:45 everyone got home, and that's not true. It was closer to 2 o'clock, and then even afterwards, they don't have a time for Xana and Ethan. Every little thing is incorrect and all over the place. I don't understand how this is reality.
She described the item the suspect was holding, which was advised was like a cylinder, as she remembered a cop talking about how a bow. She was trying to ascertain if what she saw was in fact shaped like a bow. Further,
a cylinder. So now she's saying that this guy might have had a bow and arrow cylinder that would go over the shoulder to hold the bows and stuff into it. That's new. That's new.
Stated she thought that maybe it was a firefighter because of what Blank told her about seeing a firecracker. She advised he would have been approximately interesting, the firecracker thing, by the way, 3 feet away from her, and she believed she saw him walking out the back sliding glass door. He had looked at her before walking out the back door. She was not certain if he could see her whole body.
See, and that's another thing. They have tried to pretend since the very beginning that they didn't know for sure which way the person left, that Dylan just saw the person walking towards the kitchen, but that they didn't know exactly if the person went out the back door or not. And all of the reports that we've been getting here lately is her physically saying, I watched him walk out of the back door. So why didn't they just tell us that to begin with? The playing stupid and acting like you don't know whenever you do know, and you still can't connect it even though you do know these things. Make it make sense, man.
Body or just her head. At 4:22 a.m., then Blank corrected her time and stated actually 4:23 a.m. She advised she texted Blank and they conversed about someone wearing all black, and Blank said something to the effect of, what the F, why is Xana wearing all black? Blank explained she was not certain if she had been dreaming.
What do you mean, what the F, why is Xana wearing all black? Xana was wearing all black in the photo that was taken of everyone at the Whites. The photo of everybody that everyone has been like using for everything. She's wearing all black there. What do you mean? Why would she be wearing all black? She was wearing all black.
This, or if it was
no, not whenever she was found. When she was found in undies and a gray sweatshirt. But to be like, why would Xana be in all black? She was literally in all black hours before this. What do you mean? So weird. It's just weird that you would say that when you literally were around her for hours dressed that way.
Real. Blank explained she saw the suspect holding something she believed to be cylinder shaped and also shaped like a triangle at the bottom of the shape, at the cylinder shape. She advised the suspect was approximately 3 feet away from her, and he looked at her but was walking out the sliding door when she saw him. She said she saw.
So she didn't see him in the hallway. She saw him as he was going out the door is what she's trying to say. And the cylinder had a triangle at the bottom of it. This is getting so weird.
Saw his eyebrows. At approximately.
Oh, this is where the eyebrows get mentioned in the ISP report.
4:23 a.m. She texted.
Right, 3 feet is really close. So how are you going to sit there and say that you didn't even see him until he walked out the slider, but that you saw him like 3 feet away from you? That don't compute, broskies. Thank you for the 5, Pippi. I found the lack of questions about those two during interviews odd. I would think their associations and activities would be important too. Yeah, they got cleared within the first couple of days, though. The first few days.
Blank to tell her she saw a masked suspect in their house. Blank responded at approximately 4:25 a.m., telling her to come to her Blank bedroom and that it's better than being alone. Blank then left her bedroom after opening the door the 4th time and ran to Blank's bedroom downstairs. Again, this is Dylan and Bethany, but they've redacted. Blank advised when she left her bedroom, she looked down the hallway to Xana's bedroom, and she could see Xana lying on her back in her underwear, but she thought at that time Xana was passed out. Blank stated she never went to Xana's bedroom, and she could only see Xana from the hallway as she was running to get to Blank's bedroom. Dylan.
And the way that all of the blood is described as being like all the way around her, covering her entire body, like soaking her sweater. How would you be able to walk past that and see that and not be like, holy shit?
Bethany's bedroom. She advised she was too scared to go into Xana's bedroom, and she knew Blank was awake, and she knew to go there because she was scared. She saw Xana was wearing her underwear, and she explained Xana was comfortable enough with the.
Thanks for the 5, Moto Man. Why are they concerned about what she was wearing considering the situation? There's people getting stabbed, but that's what Xana was wearing, black. What WTF? Yeah, well, it's because they're trying to decide, I guess, if it's Xana that she saw or not. But still, like, if you were around her earlier whenever she was wearing all black, and you're claiming at this point that you don't even know if she's home or not, like, before you see her on the floor. I just don't understand, like, why it's weird if she was wearing all black, if they know for a fact that she already was. So like, I agree. It doesn't really matter at that point in time, but I think that they were maybe trying to see if maybe it was Xana that they saw instead of somebody who wasn't supposed to be there. That's how I take it.
Roommates that she would wear her underwear around them, so this was not unusual. When asked about the lighting conditions inside the residence, she advised that possibly Xana's light was on or the party lights were on, and that is how she was able to see Xana, because otherwise she would not have been able to see her lying on the floor without any lights being on. She was not certain if the bathroom lights were on, but she was not certain what lights were on, if any. She advised Xana did not say anything. Blank stated she did not think anything was wrong, so still didn't think anything was wrong. She later offered she may have been able to see Xana lying on the floor because they also had a Sensi light, and it could have been she was able to see Xana from the Sensi light.
Those are not very bright. Those are really, 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 really dim. Thank you for the $4.99. I've got something to say. To be honest, Dee would have to turn right out of her door to get to the stairs and would only have seen Xana's room on the way down. Yeah, like she would have had to have gone past the portion where the hallway starts down to even like really get to the portion where she could even see outside the back door, like towards the back door. She would have had to have actually stepped out. Mm-hmm.
She explained she's been trying to determine what was real from everything that she had been talking about with Sergeant Blaker and myself. She advised she knew at the time with Blank, Kaylee, and Maddie were real because she has seen the video of them together. So there's video. She was not certain how Blank got home that day. She further explained she'd been trying to piece things together because some things do not make sense to her. She stated that she is being truthful, but some of what she's been discussing, she was able to see Xana from the Sensi light. She explained she's been trying to determine what was real from everything that she had been talking about with Sergeant Blaker and myself. She advised she knew at the time with Blank, Kaylee, and Maddie were real because she has seen the video of them together. So there's video. She was not certain how Blank got home that day. She further explained she'd been trying to piece things together because some things do not make sense to her. She stated that she is being truthful, but some of what she's been discussing, she's not certain is factual. She has been working through it, trying to remember what happened. Blank was asked if the female who was crying was saying anything, and she advised no, the female was only crying and the male was the only one talking. She described the item the suspect was holding as cylinder-shaped and was also triangular-shaped. She could not remember if the lights were on or off when she encountered the male suspect. She advised she does not know if this is even something she saw or it was something she dreamed. She advised the last time she saw Xana was at Blank House at approximately 11:04 p.m.
She was wearing all black.
By checking her cell phone. Xana had been holding a white claw. She was at Blank at 12:49 a.m. That part I don't really understand. She further advised Xana and Ethan did not stay at Ethan's house with any frequency because of Ethan's grades. He could not reside at the fraternity. He had his own apartment, but she does not know where his apartment is because she had never been there. She knows.
That's one of the questions that I had too, because apparently his parents, well, really it says more like his dad, paid for him to have an apartment in Moscow, but I don't know where it was. They said basically that they knew that he was going to be over at Xana's all the time, but that he did have like a paid for apartment somewhere in town.
Kaylee and Maddie were home when she went to bed, and Blank, and from when she saw Xana lying on the floor, but she's not certain about whether Ethan was home.
What?
Claw, she was at Blank at 12:49 a.m. That part I don't really understand. She further advised Xana and Ethan did not stay at Ethan's house with any frequency because of Ethan's grades. He could not reside at the fraternity. He had his own apartment, but she does not know where his apartment is because she had never been there. She knows Kaylee and Maddie were home when she went to bed, and Blank, and from when she saw Xana lying on the floor, but she's not certain about whether Ethan was home.
It really is making it seem as if they had no idea really like what time Xana and Ethan got home literally at all. That's what they're trying to say anyway. That's what they're trying to say. A lot of people have actually questioned if the situation with Xana and Ethan happened before Maddie and Kaylee even got home. And maybe that's why they don't know that they were home or what time they got home, because they were actually already there and that had already happened. But everything with the timeline for them doesn't add up either, because even in the Amazon series that's based on what the frat bros were saying and what the Chapins were claiming and all these other things, they're still putting them leaving the frat house at 1:40, which gets them walking to King Road and getting there at about 1:45. But that still doesn't add up because of what Hippler says at around 2:10, how they weren't home yet, according to the story about them apparently talking about going to get food up in Kaylee's room. So none of this is adding up. None of this is adding up. Thank you for the $19.99. I've got something to say. Oh my God. She just said that she has already talked to another detective before this report was made, planning ideas. Oh my gosh. She just said that she'd already talked to another detective prior to this report. Did she say that? Let me go back. I mean, that's why I want to see these. I want to know the dates on them, because we do have MPD reports, supplemental reports regarding their interviews.
So triangular shape. She could not remember if the lights were on or off when she encountered the male suspect. She advised she does not know if this is even something she saw or it was something she dreamed. She advised the last time she saw Xana was at blank house at approximately 11:04 p.m., confirmed this by checking her cell phone. Xana had been holding a white claw.
I'm pretty sure that the initial statements are what we've gone over. They were instantly surrounded by people the second that they got outside. So I don't know how much of anything of that what they said was pure, because that same night they were in a hotel with a whole bunch of people getting stories straight. So I don't know what you would consider like first statements that were like untainted, because it was pretty much tainted from the very beginning. I don't know what you would consider that.
She was at blank at 12:49 a.m. That part I don't really understand. She further advised Xana and Ethan did not stay at Ethan's house with any frequency because of Ethan's grades. He could not reside at the fraternity. He had his own apartment, but she does not know where his apartment is because she had never been there. She knows Kaylee and Maddie were home when she went to bed and blank and from when she saw Xana lying on the floor, but she's not certain about whether Ethan was home. Stated she is certain at 3:11 a.m. Kaylee, Maddie, and she were all in the house. She was not certain about Xana and Ethan because she does not know when they came home. She did not.
So by 3:11, okay, what's so special about 3:11? Now, we know that Bethany said that her and Maddie are the ones that took Murphy out, and at 2:30, Maddie came down to her bedroom and asked if she saw Murphy because they didn't know where he was. So what's so significant about 3:11? So you're telling me that still after 3 o'clock, you still have no freaking clue if Xana's in the house or not? But y'all were all up watching TV on the second floor watching Vampire Diaries. So if they came home, you would know. They would have had to have like walked right by you. Huh. Thank you for the $2.99, Allison. Doc's pictured next to bed, not on Maddie's feet. Yeah, they had like gotten dressed for bed or taken their, pants and stuff off. Her Doc Martens or her black boots and her jeans were on the floor next to her bed.
I perceiving a threat even after encountering the male in the hallway. So she denied perceiving a threat even after encountering the male in the hallway. She said there were people coming in.
See, again, did you encounter him in the hallway or did you not see him until you watched him walk out the back slider? And this is all the same report, as far as I can tell. Like, it's just repeating sort of like over and over again, because in these interviews, they're like re-asking the questions in different ways to see if they're going to get the same answers. So it's going to repeat a lot of stuff.
In and out of their house all the time. She denied remembering what his face looked like and said she could see that his head and mouth were covered, but she could not see his eyebrows, and further advised she was not.
She could not see his eyebrows. She could not see his eyebrows. Oh my God. What? 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 She could not see his eyebrows? Let me pull up every single document that has a reference to freaking bushy eyebrows in this case. What? Oh, wow.
Certain she could see his nose. When asked, and she couldn't see, it says there she couldn't see his eyebrows. When asked if she knew what balaclava was, she said no. So I asked Sergeant Blaker to show her a picture of a balaclava from his cell phone. And upon looking at the picture of a balaclava, she stated that could have been it. She does not remember.
Because the police said it. The police said that there was a bunch of rooms at a certain hotel that were like booked all together, and that they had everyone that was in the house, everyone that showed up on the 911 call, that showed up afterwards, everyone, including the Chapins that night, all stayed in that hotel.
Seeing his mouth or nose, but she could see his eyebrows. Now, when asked if any of her roommates told her about prior incidents involving anything that concerned them, she advised Kaylee had told them blank and the other roommates about an incident a month prior when she was outside with Murphy about a subject who had been watching her. The subject was in the apartment above the girl's residence. Blank further explained that 2 to 3 weeks ago, while at Winco, Kaylee told her about a male.
One more time.
She advised Kaylee had told them blank and the other roommates about an incident a month prior when she was outside with Murphy about a subject who had been watching her. The subject was in the apartment above the girl's residence. Blank further.
I know that they mentioned a tree line when it comes to somebody watching Kaylee, but they also mentioned that she had been complaining about somebody watching her and like doing stuff like that since May, which was right before she moved into King Road. So there's that too.
Explained that 2 to 3 weeks ago, while at Winco, Kaylee told her about a male subject who followed her from the Winco store, all the way to Kaylee's car, even when Kaylee went to leave the subject was standing by Kaylee's car. We've heard about that incident before. Also,
yeah, we did. Thank you for the $2, Haiti. Thank you for the 2, Moto. Was it the contact added at 3:10-ish? 3:51. 3:51. 8 minutes before the DoorDash order would have been dropped off. So literally, Molly would have been parked right outside the King Road house, staring up at the 3rd floor bathroom window as Dylan is adding a contact to her phone. I guess I'm going to have to go back to the 11:12 timestamp and see what time she pulls into the neighborhood. But her report says she hung around for like 15 minutes. So I'm going to have to go back in and look at it. But it was 3:51 that Dylan added a contact to her phone.
So 2 to 3 weeks ago, all of the roommates went to Starbucks together. And when they got home, their front door was wide open and they do not believe it had been open when they left. She explained there were prior issues with the front door. So she said it was possible the door opened because there had been a snowstorm, and she explained possibly the wind caused the door to open. Also, when they got home, the washer was going, which she described was not unusual, but this also concerned her. She explained because of these things, they went to get Ethan's golf clubs to protect themselves when they searched the house.
Okay, let me digest this for a second. So in one of the reports, they said something about how they got home one day and the door was wide open, and it was like the wind was blowing the doors so hard that it was like basically making it come off the hinges a little bit, and the hinges had to be tightened up. Right? So we also know that the pin code on that door was crap. Like sometimes it locked, sometimes it didn't. But we also know that there was no lock on the back slider, that there was a way that you could like do a certain thing and the damn thing would just like come right open. But it's really freaking weird if you're going to say, yeah, everyone was gone, but we came home and the front door was wide open and the washing machine was going. So what happened to the clothes that was in the washer? Did you take them out and throw them away because they belonged to a stranger? Or why are we mentioning the washing machine during this incident? Because that's weird. Because I'm pretty sure eventually you would have gotten home and looked at the clothes that was in the washing machine, yeah? And seen whether they belonged to somebody that lived with you or not. And if they didn't, then why didn't you call the police and be like, some weirdo came into my house whenever I was gone, broke my door open and started washing their nasty ass clothes in my washing machine, and I don't know who they belong to. I'm going to call the cops. Like, am I wrong in thinking that? Like, that sounds like an unfinished story. It's a little bit confusing.
Blank explained weeks prior to the 13th, Kaylee told the roommate she heard a woman scream, but no one else heard it. Blank was asked if she was telling either Sergeant Baker or I anything to prevent us from solving this, and she advised no, that she understood my question, and she advised that she knew she did not sleep through the whole incident because she has texted communications and other things, and she knows that they would have required her to be awake. She advised she...
So she's sitting there telling the freaking ISP officer, I know for a fact that I wasn't asleep through anything. But then she's telling Steve Goncalves, I was asleep. I didn't hear or see anything. Bro.
Knows what she heard, especially about hearing who she believes was Kaylee crying and the male voice telling her that he was there for her. Interesting.
There for her? See, that's a whole nother level to say I'm here for you. It's okay. I'm here for you is different than I'm going to help you. So maybe it's just the way that it's being like reinterpreted.
She stated again, she does not know how much of what she has been telling us was not factual because she's still processing the events. When asked why she believes she was spared after the male suspects saw her, she said she does not know why, and she does not believe anyone ever tried to open the door during the time he was in the house, and he could have easily have done so. And why would he have passed by her room multiple times? She volunteered that to come through the sliding glass door, the person would have had to have scaled a tall wall. She advised the suspect would...
What did she just say?
He was in the house, and he could have easily have done so. And why would he have passed by her room multiple times? She volunteered that to come through the sliding glass door, the person would have had to have scaled a tall wall. She advised the suspect would have known her room would have been occupied.
For someone to come through the slider, they would have had to have scaled a wall. Hold on, one more time, because what?
He was in the house, and he could have easily have done so. And why would he have passed by her room multiple times? She volunteered that to come through the sliding glass door, the person would have had to have scaled a tall wall. She advised
Is she talking about the slider on the 3rd floor that leads out of Kaylee's room and not the back slider? Because you do not have to scale a tall wall to go in through the back freaking slider through the kitchen. You would only have to scale a wall if you were coming in through the slider that leads out to the balcony on the 3rd floor. This is blowing my mind. How ridiculous this is. Like, I'm sorry, what? Thank you for the $1.99. It's stalker why Kaylee didn't want to go back. Maybe. Because they were even making mention about how Murphy would take longer to come inside sometimes. And I was questioning if somebody wasn't hiding in the bushes grooming him, giving him treats, giving him snacks, petting on him, getting him used to them. Insane stuff. 5 months. Thank you so much for being here. You're the best at finding out the truth. Just trying to find out the truth, period. I don't even care where it heads. It just needs to be the honest truth. Thank you for the $4.99, Whitney. I don't know that this is her interview, but just a summary by Ellie. Yeah, it's just them basically just like reiterating whatever the interview went through. It doesn't look like a transcript. It looks like it's a report, like a supplemental report. I want the videos. Did you see the leaked prison footage of Bryan? Thank you for the $2, Julia. I saw some pictures that Inton put up on his Twitter, but I haven't gone in and like looked at any video. I didn't know there was video. I thought it was just photos. Thank you for the $5.99, Lady Crimson. I don't know what that is in SEK. What country is that? Swedish. That's freaking cool. Thank you for the $9.99, Whitney. You need to watch Sheath's first interview, especially the ones with Christy, Olivia, and Ant. Then also Chronicles Olivia interview with them. It makes you look at a different way. Let me tell you how much I have. Okay, I have actually. A couple of weeks ago, I went back in and listened to, I believe it was the big one that they did with Brian Inton in their house. And Steve says something about how he mentioned to the other parents that, like, if one of their daughters was involved in something, that they just needed to know the truth and there wasn't going to be any hard feelings and blah, 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 whatever. And I think it's the same interview where he says something about how they didn't have to go upstairs. I think that leads a lot to Xana. I'm just going to say that now. I've really wondered that for a while. And everything with Xana and Ethan is so hush-hush. The Chapins are coming in acting like assholes about everything and trying to basically cover up all kind of shit. Treating Ethan like he's like not even important. Because remember, they're going by twins now, not triplets. And that's coming out of his own mother's mouth. All right, this isn't made up stuff. I have the clip where she says it herself. I am been leaning on Xana and Ethan's timeline being secret has got to be for a reason. There's a reason why everything with Bethany and Xana and Ethan sort of are supposed to line up together. There's a reason why we don't know the truth about something so simple as what time did Xana and Ethan even get home? What time did they get home? All these cameras, all this stuff with these cell phones, all these social media things. You can't tell me when they actually walked in those damn doors, whether it be the back slider or the front door. You can't tell me what time they actually physically walked into that house. 3 years almost later. I'm sorry. So whenever he said that, and he said that was a conversation that they actually had, and he said it felt even back then, a couple of, a week or so after all this crazy shit or whatever it was, maybe 2 weeks after, that it felt like they were, the cops were purposely trying to pit the parents against each other by keeping like things and saying certain things. And that's whenever he was like, if your daughter was involved in something, just tell us. It's no hard feelings. We just need to be able to figure all this out. And then he said the whole they didn't have to go upstairs thing. And then at some point, there's one of these interviews where Dylan basically says something about how she just thought it was one of Ethan's frat buddies leaving for the night, or one of Xana and Ethan's friends leaving for the night. And then the comment that she just said right here about, I don't know, it could have been somebody that knew who I was, and that's why I was saved, because they knew me. That's wild. That's wild.
The suspect would have known her room would have been occupied because he appeared to have known the layout of the house. She also said it could have been someone who was in the house last year when the other girls were living in the house. She advised there was no one she knows who could have wanted to hurt the girls, and the girls were loved by everyone. She said she had never heard rumors which were negative about any of the victims. When asked about Kaylee's ex-boyfriend, advised the breakup was mutual and they have their dog Murphy in common. And then she brought up some other names. She offered her DNA. She advised there might be difficult to locate the offender's DNA because they had conducted a deep clean of their residence leading up to the parents' weekend. Let's see.
What? No, actually, honey baby, that would be the opposite. Oh, that was her setting up the story. Duh, Jules. That's her setting up the story. She just sat here and said, oh, it might be kind of difficult to find the perpetrator's DNA because we deep cleaned the house for Parents' Weekend. Well, Parents' Weekend was the weekend before this. The Parents' Weekend that was going on the weekend that this all happened was WSU's Parent Weekend. So them deep cleaning the house for Parents' Weekend 7 days before this, or a week and a half or so before this incident, would have actually made it a lot more easy to decipher what DNA needs to be tested or not. So if they really did deep clean the house, which I feel like that's a freaking lie, right before Parents' Weekend, then why is there still unknown male DNA, which is blood, on the handrail of the stairs that lead up to the second floor, if that's the case? If you cleaned and you deep cleaned, no. See, no, no, it would make it easier because there wouldn't be so much DNA everywhere because you deep cleaned the house. But you're going to sit there and tell me with those grimy ass freaking stairs that lead up to the second floor that you deep cleaned a damn thing? No, you didn't. No, you didn't. And we also need to remember something here. Ann Taylor had placed a document in the public documentation to the court that they had indirect evidence of a cleanup during that 8-hour time frame, meaning that scientific things would have had to have been done in order to determine the age of certain chemicals being maybe sitting around on certain places or certain things like that. So for her to sit here and be like, oh, we deep cleaned the house, so it'd be more difficult. No, it wouldn't. It would make it easier because there'd be less trash to sift through. That was you setting up your bullshit. That was you setting up your bullshit. That's all that I'm going to freaking hear from that. Thank you for the $5, Layla. Thank you so much. Hey, Jules, have you seen any of Harsh's interview? Enon Harsh? Not a word. There is nothing in here with the initials IH. Nothing in any of the Moscow PD documents. There might be something in the ISP stuff. I'm going to try to figure out where he's getting this stuff from. Because, again, I filed my FOIA request a couple of weeks ago, well, almost a month ago now, honestly. They came back saying that I needed to be more specific. I sent them another response and they gave me back my request number on 7/31. Yeah. A deep clean. Oh yeah, we went through that. Her interview with the vampire werewolf boy with his new Bella interview, we went through it. I have a video where I did a reaction to it. I cannot believe that she just said, oh, we deep cleaned the house. That's what I'm saying. Them damn things was nasty. There's no way. Exactly. Why would there be old blood? No. Actually, no, there might have been one. I'm trying to think back now. There might have been one document where EB was mentioned. I know that in the Book of Lies, two of the little reporters that worked at the university said that on Yik Yak, within just a couple of hours of the vandal alerts going out, that the University of Idaho's Yik Yak account that was student-based, that a cartel hit, substances being involved, and Emma Bailey's name was all being thrown around within the first few hours on Yik Yak, which is super interesting considering that there's a Yik Yak search warrant for Bryan. Does anyone else think that it was Ethan who was walking with the three people onto Linda Lane from an SUV at 12:30 on November 13th? I plan on going back through all of that. I don't know if we're going to do it on a live because I need to be able to make it as big as I possibly can so that I can see what I need to see. And I don't have the equipment or the programs to be able to zoom in and out of video and like that if I'm doing a live. So it probably will be a video, but I plan on going back through all of that stuff. And hi, Jackie. That's what I'm saying. She's saying that they did a deep clean a week before, trying to think that oh, if they find proof of a deep clean in that house from those 8 hours, I can just say that it was from a week prior and it's going to make up for it. I cannot believe that she just said that. So she's admitting to a deep clean and saying that she did not see the person's eyebrows. Did not see the person's eyebrows. I cannot wait to get my hands on these reports. Oh my God.
Boyfriend advised the breakup was mutual and they have their dog Murphy in common. And then she brought up some other names. She offered her DNA. She advised there might be difficult to locate the offender's DNA because they had conducted a deep clean of their residence.
Somebody said that? Yeah, that person's got to be mentally challenged.
Residents leading up to the Parents' Weekend. Let's see. Some of this I'm reading for the first time, so bear with me. When asked if she could able to provide a description of a police artist, like a sketch artist, she said she would not be able to describe enough of the suspect to be helpful. She further advised the only thing she remembered about his face was his eyebrows were bushy. So that's where the bushy eyebrow.
She just said that she didn't see his eyebrows. So in this exact same document, it goes from, I could not see this person's eyebrows to now his eyebrows were bushy. All of this in the same report. And he's not stopping and being like, oh, wait a minute. She just said she didn't see them not 5 minutes ago. How? Oh, so bad.
House came from. She advises she was confused about why the offender would have taken the patio door out of the residence because of the drop off from the patio. She advised she remembers that cars do come by their residence a lot, and she said there was a black truck.
Bro, I'm getting mad, Heather. How is Bryan into not stopping and being like, hold on, let me grab this other page? Chick literally just said 5 minutes ago she didn't see his eyebrows. Now she's telling me that they're bushy. She doesn't even know. How can you not stop and ask these questions, bro?
Past the window, and she further said she was not absolutely certain that it was a black truck and apparently was confused.
Black truck? You mean the black freaking truck that Enon Harsh talked about? We literally were just talking about him.
Eyebrows were bushy, so that's where the bushy eyebrows came from.
If anything, it would make it easier though, Candy, because like any of the guys that were in there partying before that, all of their DNA would have been completely wiped out with this so-say deep clean. Now, I don't know who they would have had in their house like in that week before that, but there was a party at King Road Friday night. So even if even if there was like a party and people coming in, doing a deep clean would make it easier to determine whose DNA belonged there and whose did it, because it would be a shorter amount of time in between the deep clean and what happened. And trust me, they would definitely be taking that into consideration. I cannot believe she just said that. See, and people were asking, look, even Kara, Xana's mother, I have the messages, okay? She even said to me, don't you find it strange that whenever all this stuff was going on, they're saying basically how they're like freaked out and all this other stuff, but there's no mention of them trying to contact their boyfriends? I've wondered the entire time if Quinn was there. Because there was a whole other girl, LM, the initials are LM, with Kaylee and Maddie at King Road while they were getting ready, and then took the ride with them to the corner club. And it doesn't say when LM like branched away from Kaylee and Maddie, but we know that Kaylee and Maddie are separate, are like together without her, with Jack Showalter on the way to the grub truck and at the grub truck and in the car on the way back with Eric. But then LM is still like at King Road, and she's being described in the reports as being there with Dylan and Bethany while they're watching Vampire Diaries. So when did she branch off from them at the corner club? What time did she get back to King Road? Why has she been kept a secret for 3 years? Now, in the Linda Lane footage, at like 4:24, I think it is, it looks like somebody runs across and gets into what looks like a big truck before then leaving. And I've always wondered, is that Quinn? Is that Quinn Kelly? Is the reason why we don't see her frantically calling her boyfriend or calling her boyfriend at all to be like, hey, babe, you'll never guess what happened? And I'm still trying to like figure out, I had a bad dream, or help me figure out what's going on. Nothing, not even after. Like there's no communications between you and your dude. That's honestly not normal. But Xana's own mother was like, don't you find it strange that she's not calling her boyfriend? Yes, ma'am, I do. What you mean? Of course I do. I hate this case so much. I hate this case so much.
She advises she was confused about why the offender would have taken the patio door out of the residence because of the drop off from the patio. She advised she remembers that cars do come by their residence a lot, and she said there was a black truck driving past the window, and she further said she was not absolutely certain that it was a black truck and apparently was confused.
You weren't certain if it was a black truck and apparently was confused. Well, I know that in the footage that they've shown us so far from 11:12, we haven't seen a black truck, but I think the footage also stops at like 4:22, maybe 4:23. But it's supposed to be like a whole lot longer. I want all of it. I want like the whole freaking thing. I want it from like 24 before, 24 after, 12 before, 12 after. I'll take that too. But I'm really like a rule of mine is 24 before and 24 after is sort of like the base information that I try to get concreted down as close as possible, because to me that's like the most important time frame. Damn. And Enon Harsh mentions a black frickin' truck. This is insane.
When asked what occurred after she went to Blank's bedroom, she said they eventually fell asleep. She advised a friend of theirs was planning a memorial event, and that's helped her emotionally because at this point she's obviously dealing with everything.
So the memorial event was closer to the end of November, the first one, I think. Now the other one was like the day that his arrest was announced, I believe. The timing was interesting.
Let's see. When she awakened that morning, Blank was next to her in bed. We know that was Bethany. They were both too scared to leave the room to even go to the bathroom.
Too scared to go take a piss, but you perceived no fear and thought that you were just dreaming. It can't be both. How are the ISP officers, interrogators, and the feds looking at these two morons and being like, do I look like I was born yesterday? What the frick do you actually mean? I can't. I really just can't. Thank you for the $5, Sadie. We're going to be here for 10 years from now discussing this damn case. Probably. Trying to wade through what the frick is going on. Because why is it every single time something comes out, it's different? We might not even go over the damn Idaho Statesman article tonight because it's already been over 2 hours and this is insane.
23 a.m.
Which is fine. We'll do it like in a video. I'll do a video tomorrow about it.
10:23 a.m. said she texted Maddie. We knew about these text messages. Then explained when she reached out to Blank in the text message, which Blank told her it was 10:50 a.m., but she thinks Blank was mistaken, told her she would send to their house. Sorry, there's a lot redacted here. It's hard to understand. She advised they stayed in the house when the police arrived and the police were putting the tape up. Then they realized.
Liar. You were outside before the people that you lured over and summoned even got there. You were outside with your hands covering your mouth as Hunter Johnson walked past you, and then you followed him back up the stairs. You were not in the house until the police arrived. You were outside. Why are you lying?
Realized there had been a crime, and when they saw the ambulance arrive and leave, Blank told them they would not leave unless there was no reason to stay. She then advised said that the vandal alert came out, and that's when they realized that their friends were actually gone.
That's not true. That's whenever the friends that were summoned over knew what was going on. But Dylan and Bethany were in the freaking house walking around with Hunter, at least to Xana's room. And then again, you hear Dylan mention Kaylee's freaking name on the 911 call. Pretty sure she says something about poor Kaylee. I'm so sick and tired of everything changing. Thank you for the $4.99. I've got something to say. And so scared that you didn't even mention it to your parents that you called that morning. Back to back at that. And not just her parents. She called her mom. She called her dad. Apparently both cell phones. Then she called what was labeled as home, which I can just assume is her parents' house line. And an unknown number. Multiple times to the parents. And then also an unknown number. I've honestly wondered if the conversation and the unknown number had to do with a lawyer. Because my sources are telling me that she basically had an attorney representing her before the 911 call was made. This person hasn't really been wrong about anything that they said to me. So if Bethany really did have a lawyer prior to the 911 call being made, I can pretty much bet you it happened around that 8 o'clock hour that she's calling her parents, if this is true. What do you need a lawyer for if you have no idea what's going on? Full of shit.
When asked if she checked the house for anyone else when she initially came home that night with Blank, and she was asked if she had to unlock the.
Yeah, that's the timestamp. I thought it was 4:24, but 4:23. That's yeah. Yep. It would have had to have left out that way. I cannot wait to get the damn footage. They need to hurry on up.
Front door, and she advised she believed she had to unlock the front door to get into the residence. She advised when she first got home, she remembered the sliding door was closed, but she did not know if it was.
It's very possible. I know that a lot of people are still questioning if there was a female involved in the situation.
Locked. She advised when she first got home, she went to Kaylee's bedroom to let Murphy out of Kaylee's room, and Kaylee's lights were on and no one was.
Okay, this portion is not true. Somebody claiming to have seen people outside in the backyard smoking a joint or whatever, that came from Dot. Dot came out herself after being outed after a camera slip and admitted that everything as she said was fabricated. That her real name was Braden. I'm guessing she's transgender or something like that. And she goes by Braden. And this was not the first case that she has put herself in the middle of for attention. But she came out herself and admitted that everything that she had said about seeing people in the backyard and smoking a J or seeing people smoking and then how it evolved to her not being involved in the smoke circle, all that stuff was fabricated. Even though it would make sense with everything we know for people to be outside and all these other things, she was a liar. And she said so herself. This isn't us guessing or sleuthing around. It was a camera slip happened. She had to come forward and she had to admit the truth. And the truth was that she was a liar. And I just try to clear that up whenever I see stuff like this, because some stupid channel with a lot of followers went into the live where she came out and admitted all of these things and basically said that she didn't care what was being said. She was going to go ahead and make this valid. And she's done videos that has hundreds of thousands of views on it after this was debunked by the person who was out here running their mouth. So a lot of people still think that that's truth, and it's not. It was completely false. Something that somebody who needs serious therapy lied about.
In Kaylee's room, Murphy came back into the house after going outside. So first of all, my heart goes out to Dylan. I mean, with blank, and she was asked if she had to unlock the front door, and she advised she believed she had to unlock the front door to get into the residence. She advised
she was outside. What do you mean?
Vandal said that the vandal alert came out, and that's when they realized that their friends were actually gone. When asked if she checked the house for anyone else when she initially came home that night, with blank, and she was asked if she had to unlock the front door, and she advised she believed she had to unlock the front door to get into the residence. She advised when she first got home, she remembered the sliding door was closed, but she did not know if it was locked. She advised when she first got home, she went to Kaylee's bedroom to let Murphy out of Kaylee's room, and Kaylee's lights were on and no one was in Kaylee's room. Murphy came back into the house after going outside.
So Dylan had let the dog out before Kaylee got home and then let him back in. And then at 2:30 or between 2 and 2:30, Maddie and Bethany then took him outside.
So first of all, my heart goes out to Dylan. I mean, I know I read all of that kind of fast.
She wasn't threatened. She was pretending to be somebody that's real. She came out and used social media photos of a car on fire that came from somebody else's account as her own. It went farther than you guys think it did, because unless you were over there on TikTok paying attention and really into the lore of everything that was happening, it can look like that, but it's not that. This person literally came out and said themselves that this is not the first case that they have created a character and implanted themselves in. They said so themselves. So she's a liar. She's full of it. And that's just how I'm going to just believe that at that point, because no, I can't remember what the other case was, but they named it. They named the case that she had done all this shit before in. I just can't remember what it was. Yeah, she goes by Braden. Yeah, no, it's all fake. It's all fake. Yeah. She came out like she was on Riley Lively's live on TikTok whenever her camera slipped, and people were in Riley Lively's like live in the chat that recognized her and called her out by name the second that the camera slipped. And then she had to come out and admit it. She had to come out and admit it. And I believe the original story that she tried to like fake her bullshit with was that she was really basically, there's a girl named Bridget that Dylan's actually friends with, and it was like her that she was sort of trying to like impersonate whenever it came to the car being on fire and stuff like that. It was like a whole thing. It was back whenever that Rory guy with Thou Shalt Not Kill was still doing like true crime stuff. I don't know what he's doing. I haven't seen him around in a while. I don't know if he's even still on YouTube anymore. And that's whenever one of the rare times that TikTok and YouTube sort of came together. That was at the time of all the Brett Norton crazy stuff. That was that time frame. Well, she's a liar. She's not honest at all. Again, this is not the first case that she did this in, so I don't believe that at all. Of course she is. Demetrius filmed that 15-second party clip. She's ridiculous. There is no original statements. We only have supplemental narratives from the police and then what ISP just put on here. We don't have their original narratives. Yeah, no, she's got mental illnesses. She's got mental illnesses. She's very much like Summer Wells' mother. Like if you listen to her speak and listen to the way that Candace Bly speaks, they are on the same level. It's just the truth. So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure out where he got these documents from. Because he doesn't say. Let me see if anybody else is saying anything about exactly where this stuff came from. Because again, I don't have a FOIA response. And I've been getting them like crazy from Pullman. Let me see if he said anything else. Oh, there's actually a 20-second clip of Kohberger in his cell. Well, Brian Inton's the public, though. Fake Maori. So that don't make no sense. Yeah, I saw like a screenshot of him standing in his cell, but apparently there's a whole clip. Let me see if I can find it. I think y'all said that Lana had it on earlier. But I don't want to like go through her entire live or whatever to find it. Unless it's by itself. I guess I just look on YouTube. Hold on. Dr. Phil talking about Kohberger again. You know, Dr. Phil lost his license to even be a doctor before he came out to be like a Dr. Phil on the TV show. Yeah, he's a fraud. And he had like a bunch of allegations against him too. So he's like so awesome, you know? It's on Reddit. Of course it's on Reddit. Why am I not seeing it? I don't see it. That's interesting that I'm looking for something very specific and it's not showing me. Phoenix Talks put something up. It's just... Okay, hold on. Well, News Nation has a bunch of crazy shit. Let me show you all this. I don't even think about this stuff. Okay, so I'm going to have to go in and see what it is that they're looking at with this stuff, because if they're not public, then it wouldn't make sense for News Nation to have them. But they're saying all kinds of crazy shit. His professor feared he would be a predator.
Yeah, it didn't.
I'm back because I'm not trying to like even listen to you. I just saw one where it said right here, Bryan Kohberger said Kaylee's name during the murders. Dylan only heard 2 sentences being said. So what? Where are we getting that? And then it says he called his mom repeatedly afterwards. What? How do we go from she only heard him say 2 sentences, the person only saying 2 sentences, to now, oh, he said her name during the crime? How do you know that? How do you freaking know that? So yeah, this is just like photos. I guess, well, is it?
Shining shoes. Looks like he's got a cell phone, a remote for the TV. I don't know what this is. And yeah, so I don't be AI, guys.
Honestly, that might be tape on a blanket. Oh, she has the freaking website. Sort of. Hold on. There's a hand cut? Like from him? Is this okay? What's this thingy? Is she saying this is the website?
I'll share this tab. Let me take a peek real quick. And I am trying to get through all these emails.
Is this her
More
website?
Pictures. Hold on. These are accurate
so much
or true.
To digest in this case, Idaho 4. Yeah, that's not official. Well, if you move anywhere, you should always check it. I checked it before I moved my kids into this new area, so. Okay, so that's not it either. Yeah, but they have like some titles on here that are wild. Like, how do you know that he said her name, that somebody said her name? That's wild. That's insane to me. Okay, I don't even know. I don't even know. There's so much. There's just so much. And I'm not seeing this clip. Let me look back on Twitter again. I don't watch them. I've seen things in passing because people have been like, hey, can you go check this out? And then like I didn't stay. It's just the first thing that popped up. Yeah, like people are just sharing like the same screenshots. If it's what just got posted, it's not a video. See, it's just like screenshots. Oh, found it. Okay. Yeah, it was on Twitter. I don't know if there's sound. Just standing there with his hands in front of him. Doing what? What? He put a piece of paper up there? That's it? 16-second clip. He's just standing there. This person got it off of Reddit and they found it in a Facebook group. Okay, well. Yeah, it's just him standing there, hands crossed in front of him. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to look around a little bit more to see if I can find public records. Anything regarding this right now? You emailed me a 7-minute video? Like it's a full 7 minutes of a video? No, that's the one I just clicked on, girl. It's not 7 minutes of a video. I just showed the screenshots that she had up on her screen. And then she goes to a couple of other things. It's a 7-minute long video of hers, but it's not 7-minute video of Bryan. Bryan Kohberger had True Fear of Women, but his self-help book was written by a woman, but he was given the recommendation to go and do what he was doing by a woman. Like what? Like what? I'm trying to see if they show anything. Data center, maybe? No. Because to me, it would be smart for them just to do like a website. The way that Pullman did, the way that Moscow PD did, that has just like links where you could go and view the files. Yeah, he's not saying like where these are coming from. So I'm just going to assume that he got a FOIA answered. That's just insane that he's not saying in his video that I got this in an email or I got this from the portal or anything like that. Yeah. They're showing some expert opinions that there was more than one person, like just like clips of stuff that they're showing on Twitter. I can't see where he's saying anything about where these documents came from. Literally at all. So I'm going to have to look around and see. Maybe it's a FOIA request. Maybe I'll get it tomorrow. I don't know, because I know that he's in Florida. I don't know if he submits his FOIAs with like News Nation as the address, but you have to put an address. That's why I have a channel PO box. So I don't know. Is it the same one that we just saw, Rose? Thanks for the $5, Jules. Funny how Bill Thompson says they will never, ever believe the how because he will never tell the truth. He says that it's not even about telling the truth. His excuse, and I can't wait to put these clips together. He has come out and said it like 5 times at this point. And he just did it again in an interview he did with Nate Eaton over from East Idaho News. The profiler in the very beginning, before we even had an arrest, before we even had a suspect, told us that whoever did this, their explanation was just going to be so out there that a normal mind would never be able to understand it. So it would just be pointless to ask. He's blaming the reason why they didn't get actual information from Kohberger about the situation on a profiler that spoke to them 2 weeks after the crime happened before they even had a suspect. He's taking what that person apparently said and making that the excuse for why they didn't get anything. No, you're literally making that the excuse because you don't want the truth to come out. And you know that he can't answer your question. That's why you're making an excuse that's almost 3 years old instead of just doing your job. Yeah, so it's worse than that. It's just so ridiculous. Thanks for the $1.99. I've got something to say. Are these records they had to pay for? Big MSN money. I don't know. Home Dude didn't say anything. Let me look back at his Twitter post and see if he says anything. But that's what I was listening for. To see if he mentioned how he got them, because like certain things are going to cost money. Yeah, people are asking, like, where are these documents from? Like, we know they're supposed to be from ISP, but he's not saying anything about where he got them or how he got them. Yeah, there's just a bunch of comments, but there's nothing from him. I'm seeing if he says anything else about the it on this little thing. Probably not. He doesn't say. Yeah, he doesn't say. He doesn't say. So I'll look around a little bit more. If I figure it out tonight before I go to bed, then I'll post it in the community tab. I had wanted to go over that article, but I guess it's just going to have to be pushed back again, or I'll just go through and read it and just like point out everything that's wrong in it, because it was wrong. The second that the article opened up, it said that Payne got there 2 hours after Nunes got to the scene and called it in, but Brett Payne got there at 4 o'clock with Blaker. And I don't understand how you're going to be so confident in your timeline, but your first freaking paragraph is off by 2 hours. Fixler needs to get his shit together, because it's just absolutely stupid. So stupid. No, the screenshots and the video came from, according to what was just on the thing, a Facebook group had them, and then it went from the Facebook group over to Reddit, and then people are taking it from Reddit and they're sharing it now. Is what that's about. Did she get them too? Or is she going to go over the video? She might have. Let me go see if she says, if she said anything anywhere. She has a video that's supposed to be upcoming tomorrow at 9 o'clock about Pullman case files. And then she has another one for tomorrow night, in the cell with Kohberger, welcome home prison videos and pics. She's not saying anything about ISP. Unless it's in a post. Bryan Kohberger, welcome home party. We were invited via Zoom. What does that freaking mean? What does we got invited via Zoom mean? That somebody inside of the jail like opened up a Zoom link and sent it to people? She says, I'm sharing it for transparency like I do with everything. Personally, I think it's good for us to see and hear that people are screaming at him and the rumors of him being a snitch are true. What? I've never even heard that one. I want to know what the frick that means by we were invited via Zoom. There is a video. I'll show tomorrow at the live stream. Well, I mean, the video is already out. We just watched it. What does that mean that you were invited via Zoom? And then she's talking about, yeah, it'd be so fun if we could watch him basically like go to the bathroom. This is why I don't go to this channel. She's just like crude and gross. I don't really give a shit if that gets back to her or not. She's disgusting in my opinion. Yeah, I don't know. She's not saying anything about having ISP documents. She's just talking about the same thing that we just already looked at. So yeah. There should be. I just need to see exactly what's going on with it. But I'm going to look and see if they're being posted anywhere on a website that maybe we just haven't noticed yet. I'm also going to log in and check my request. Because I have my request number and my security key written down off camera. I mean, off computer. I keep everything like on hard copy stuff away from the internet. So I'll pull that up and check it. And again, if I see anything before I go to bed tonight, I'll post it in the community tab. But it's really funny to me that it's Inton of all people that are reporting this stuff first. You know what I mean? Thanks for the 10, Miss Macy. Good night, Jules in chat. Sweet dreams. Good night. Good night. I just think she's gross. I just think she's gross. Thought that for a long time. Yeah, there's a lot of that too. And coming from someone like that who did what she did in the Watts case, it's not surprising at all that this is what she claps for. KTVB. I don't know. I don't understand how the Goncalveses aren't getting like this information. I mean, if they are, they're not releasing it, but you'd think that they would be releasing it if it was like actually like, you know, bad for Bryan. So I don't know. I don't know. He's been real quiet. Steve has. Like, he came out the day before the photos came out saying how he didn't want the photos out. And to me, I'm like, well, bro, you already had the photos because you're in Idaho. So you would have been one of the first people to get the response back. And the interview was literally the same day that the mainstream people who released them would have gotten them because they didn't release them until the next day. So there's no way to tell me that he didn't have them at the exact same time and then came out and was like, I don't want these to come out. Well, you didn't want the house demolished either, and he didn't do anything but come out here to try to get like attention on camera, and you didn't put your money where your mouth is and file anything into the court. So until you actually do that and produce a document, then just keep on talking, basically. Keep on talking. Thank you for being here. They've been inconsistent. That's my bad. We were supposed to do one last week. I don't think we did. Just been stuff going on. I'm really trying to do at least twice. I'd like to, like, my schedule for things has changed. I've moved my shift to a different set of hours and also like cut down because I can cut down from 40 to 30. So my schedule is more open like in the day to a certain extent. So I could probably, if I really wanted to, like maybe do a live maybe once or twice a week around like 2 o'clock. I would just have to like get my schedule like reconcreted down. But I'd like to at least start doing on Tuesdays and Thursdays, like for sure. Yeah, the Chapins bother the shit out of me. They do. Thanks for the $4.99 iced coffee. How can we help him? People donated to Karen Reed for her awesome team of attorneys. Thanks for still talking about the case. He has to, I guess, like signal that. He has to signal that. Like, I'm not comfortable with people just going out and like creating a GoFundMe for Bryan Kohberger's defense because none of that's been out there. There hasn't been a lawyer that's come forward and said that they would take over the case. Right now, Ann Taylor is still his attorney. Like, she's still his counsel on record. And until something changes to where that's like asked for, where it's pointed at, to where it's like an actual movement coming from inside, I'm not comfortable with any of those things because you don't know who's in charge of the money. You don't know where the money's going to go. So until something is like officially announced to where they're like, okay, we need another attorney. We have all these steps that we want to take and Ann Taylor and the state is not the way. And now we have to hire an attorney that can do all of these things. That'll be different. But for now, it's just not time, I guess. I guess it's just not time. Yeah, we just watched it about 10 minutes ago. Well, thank you. Almost 2 years, Jackie. That's a long time. That part. So yeah. All right. I'm going to get off of here. I don't know. I think it was like, was it 45 days? It was either 42 or 45 days. I honestly don't even know. I don't have it on the calendar. So I couldn't tell you. But I know that it's like not long. I know that it's not long. $20 days left. September 3rd. Huh. The day after we start homeschool again. Okay. I can't either. And I have a FOIA request in. Yeah, she did. And to me, the way that it read was like there's still stuff happening to where she's still technically representing him. So I don't know if that's just what they're doing until the deadline ends or what. All I know is that they had 14 days from, what date was it? For like the first set of documents to be unsealed, they had 14 days from the order, and it was signed on August the 4th of 2025. So I guess they still have until like next week, the beginning of next week. And part of the documents that they want to unseal is the alternate perpetrator evidence. And unless they come out and give a non-law citation reason, like it has to be a physical, actual reason that is specific to the case itself, then it's going to get unsealed according to the way that the order went. So I haven't seen, I've been checking like multiple times a day. I haven't seen anything where either side has posted any sort of objections to anything. So I guess we're going to see. They're apparently supposed to, unless I'm like misconstruing what I read, I believe they're still supposed to file some sort of response, even if they are okay with everything being unsealed, just so that it's on the record. And Bill Thompson, whenever he did his interview with Eaton, I think it was like was it last night or 2 nights ago? I was listening to it while I was playing Grounded in the living room. And I took notes, but I don't remember if it was last night or the night before. Anyway, he mentioned it then, and he didn't say anything. Bill Thompson did. He mentioned it then, but he didn't say anything about them like fighting it or anything. He just said that right now they have 40 documents that they have to go over and figure out what they want to do with. But the deadline is coming up. It is coming up. I don't think Nye can deny anything. He's not a lawyer. He's not a judge. He's a prosecutor. He's like a state prosecutor or whatever. Special prosecutor, whatever he is. He's on the state side, but he can't make decisions on stuff. So yeah. Good night, Cammie. I believe YouTube is going to get to the truth in this case. We just need to go through like the facts. The problem is that all the facts keep changing. That's the problem. Truth doesn't change. The truth is a constant. Only lies continuously change. And that's all that we keep hearing is stuff constantly changing. Yeah, he's not a judge. So he can like argue it, but yeah. So I don't know. Okay. I'm going to go look and see if I can see anything. Check on that request. I'll let you guys know what I find. And we'll probably talk tomorrow because I still want to go through this article, but I don't know if it's going to be a video or if I'm going to do a live. I don't usually do lives on Fridays, and I don't want to promise anything that I can't keep. So if you guys see something incoming, then it'll be posted. But unless something's posted, I'm probably not going to go live. But I'm going to go ahead and get off of here. Thank you so much for the super stickers and the super chats and the people that joined. I appreciate it so, so much. I appreciate you guys being here for almost 3 hours while we go through some of this stuff and talk about things. Just what we just listened from Brian Inton. I don't see how he didn't stop and backtrack and be like, so you're talking about bushy eyebrows, but like 5 lines up, you said you couldn't even see his eyebrows. So which one is it? Like, why are we not asking the questions that make sense to try to like get the kinks out of this? Yeah, ridiculous. Okay, you guys, I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. Let me go ahead and play my little thingy-mabobber right here. Please do not forget to leave a like on your way out and subscribe to the channel if you are not subscribed already. Okay, you guys. See you.